Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday, October the 25th. Your daily grind has started. The NBA is back. We're 1 week in, exactly 1 week in. We're getting some opening ideas of what we're looking at, and we have some surprises. The Heat, the Nuggets, the Nets, all struggling in the opening week. We'll talk about it. Lots to get to. Appreciate everybody coming in. I'll get that show card up here momentarily. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's always a great day to talk basketball. Appreciate you. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I tell you, it's a slow day here. I got stuck behind traffic, so I had to race home to be able to get here in time. So give me a couple of minutes. Shout out to everybody who spend any time making Hoop Spaces part of your day. We are appreciative. Brought to you by our sponsor, slamgoods.com. You can head over to slamgoods.com. You can use promo code HoopSpaces. You can save 15%. I'm going to get a picture up of a new release. They have a new T-shirt out with some of the best covers that are available. You'll be able to save 15% off of that. Was on a podcast last night, waiting for it to drop. The Combos Court. If you don't know, Andrew was a 14-year pro international basketball over in Germany, Israel, and we'll get to that. Actually, we talked Lakers, Russ, and then some other stuff. We have that. Great games last night. The Sixers got their first victory of the night, and we've got you. You know, it's always a great day to talk basketball. I'll be back in 10 seconds. Thank you. Good morning. All right. Good morning. I already see my man Bad Guy Cash is here. I see Rels Pels is in the building. Bonkai, the show killer, coming off a great New York victory. Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod is in the building, and Scott, aka Nothing But Heat, in the building. The Heat, man, I tell you, they lost another fourth quarter. Dwayne Dedman out there looking like Jan Mahinmi. We've got Keenan in here. We know that Raptor squad that's going to represent. They don't quit, man. And then of course, like where would we be without the Brooklyn Nets, ladies and gentlemen, who once again failed to live up to expectations. And I tell you what, Cash, it's going to get real testy up there in Brooklyn if anything follows suit like it did in Philly last night. We'll get right to it. Bad guy, Philly, the Sixers, we won. We beat the Pacers. We look dominant. I'm going to go ahead and get the newsletter out there. I ask everybody who's already here in the room to go ahead and like and retweet the show card. That lets people know that we're open. It also shows the good people around the world that we're here. Also up there is the newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscription button. It's totally free. You'll get all of the game breaks, links to interviews and news. You don't have to worry about searching that stuff out, and I almost cursed on my own show in the morning. Bad guy, let's talk Philly. It looked good. Doc Rivers is a great coach. Everything is back to normal. Crisis averted. What you got?
Oh man, I'm not worried about that at all. I told you we're loaded like a baked potato, and it takes time to cook. We got Maxi, we got Harris, we got Nee. It's a lot of pieces, a lot of ingredients to put together, and it takes some time. So you gotta give the chef some. Personally, I give him 20 games. 20 games I need this. So now he got 17 more. But I like the way he's heading, Chris. I'm cool with it. Maxi a little down game, but yeah, it's nice to see Halliburton too. It was a great game. I'm really impressed by James Harden these first few games. I really am. I like the deal that we made, and I think we're getting a good return on our investment.
You know what? I think we are too. James Harden looks engaged and primed for a really, really good year if he can stay healthy. Um, he was one what rebound short of a triple double again last night. He looks extremely as spry as he can be at 32. The one thing that's kind of left is the ability to blow by opponents, but you see him in his intelligence being able to manipulate the court, which you saw him just
Yeah, I mean the fake screen back door for the slam. Yeah,
Yep.
he's one hand, one leg. He getting up there. He still got a little something, something.
Yeah, he still got it, but like gone are the days where he's got the unbeatable Euro step, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, but like, he still get technical with the dribble, making them reach. All he gotta do is get you off balance a little bit, and he's by you. He's not beating you with the speed; he's beating you with his mind at this point.
Yeah, there you go. Malika Walker is up on stage. Scott, aka Nothing But Heat, is up on stage. Let me go ahead and break down these games with the scores, ladies and gentlemen. I should have a sound effect for that. I'll get that done. Sixers 120, Pacers 106, James Harden 29, 9, and 11. Absolutely fantastic night. But I'm going to give a shout out to Tyrese Halliburton, who struggled offensively but still put up 19, 6, and 10. That Tyrese Halliburton kid, that young man is going to be a problem in this league for years. I wouldn't even doubt that by the time James Harden and Chris Paul retire, or maybe even as early as next year, Tyrese Halliburton might be a perennial threat to lead the league in assists because that kid or young man hits every pass imaginable. Like he even hits a couple passes that I think Luka would have trouble in because Luka tends to have more flair. The Raptors, they do battle with the Heat again on a back-to-back. They lost last time. This time they are victorious as they crush that fourth quarter, 27-14. Jimmy Butler, 26 and 8 and 4 in the loss. Fred VanVleet, 24 and 9 in the victory. The Toronto Raptors are going to be an annoying team because they can really match up and beat anybody on any given night, but they can really stink it up too. So it's going to be fun watching Raptors Twitter for the majority of the season go at it with all their various enemies out here, like the Heat, the Sixers, and of course, the now new redone Atlanta Hawks rivalry. Like, go figure. The Knicks, another strong performance. They are 2-1, including 2-0 at home. Did it with both offense and defense, 115-102. Julius Randle, ladies and gentlemen, here's your warning. He's engaged with the team, like I said was going to happen, because they weren't going to be able to trade him because that contract actually is more valuable than the player name. Right, that contract at 23, going down, shrinking every year is going to be phenomenal. Bol citing 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 blocks. I don't know. Maybe he's going to end up being legit. I just, when I watch him, it was kind of funny. Shout out to Obi Toppin. That dude can dunk. He could dunk very, what do I want to say, Cash? Ferociously, viciously. There you go. I was trying to do both of them at the same time. The Bulls smoked the Celtics 120-102. A 20-point difference in the second quarter just blew it open, 35-15. Jason Tatum 26, 8 and 5. Nikola Vucevic, He was the leader in rebounds last night by 1 in the entire league. He put up a stat line of 18, 23, and 5. Precious Achiuwa came in at number 2 with 22 rebounds. And I tell you what, there were some Heat fans who were watching that game and they just got sick to the stomach. The Rockets shocked the world by beating the Jazz, who beat everybody else. Jared Vanderbilt, shout out the UK alum Jared Vanderbilt, 13-11. And I keep trying to tell certain Brooklyn Nets fans that they aren't going to get Mr. Vanderbilt. That GM Danny Ainge, or president of operations Danny Ainge, specifically targeted Vanderbilt in that Gobert trade, meaning that if he wasn't in there, he wasn't going to pull the trigger despite getting all those first-round draft picks. Kevin Porter Jr. in the win, 26, 10, and 4. I'm telling you, the Rockets are going to be an exciting team. They're going to score a lot of points. They're just going to allow a lot. But last night, you could see the flashes of the idea they have building around KPJ, Jalen Green, and Jabari Smith Jr. The Grizzlies beat the Nets 134-124. And I tell you what, like, that second quarter, I think, kind of gave the Nets fans some hope. Going into halftime, I was just shaking my head. I didn't think you guys were going to be able to match the Grizzlies' energy. Like, it just seemed kind of off. No matter that Kyrie and KD were hitting shots, it just didn't seem to really kind of work. And then boom, that third quarter hit, and Memphis put up 45. That hit different. And Desmond Bane, John Morant, they combined for 76, while KD and Kyrie combined for 74. But then it was the rest of the team and the coaching that really sealed this victory for Memphis. I'm going to put my KD tweet up here. I think it's rather benign, seeing what some of Nets Twitter put up there. We'll talk about that. 134-124. The Spurs are the Spurs, y'all. 3-1, 115-106 over the Timberwolves. Devin Vassell fast becoming the next iteration of Zach LaVine, 23-9-7 in the victory. Karl Anthony Towns, 27-11-5 in the defeat. And I tell you what, that Gobert and Cat pairing, it's working. It's the other players that aren't really being consistent. D'Lo and Edwards. Like, one has a good game, the other doesn't, and then they flip flop. It's like they show up at the beginning of the shoot around and say, "Is today your day?" But at this point, I think they need to go ahead and take out McDaniels, who's starting, and they need to put in somebody else who can help spread the floor. Ant took 8 threes. He missed 7. Like, Cat took 6. He made 2. You know, you can't go 3 for 14 with your best players on offense from deep and expect to win. Also, there'll be some news coming out. They are working on contract extensions with Naz Reid and Noel, their backup guard, who's the 6th man. All right, one last game to get to last night, and that is the Nuggets and Trailblazers. People wrote the Trailblazers off for dead over the offseason. They had a very tumultuous offseason with the firing of Neil O'Shea. Chauncey Billups was on the hot seat. Damian Lillard was told to leave. They signed him to a mega contract extension, to the bane and dismay of NBA Twitter, who continued to proceed laughing at Dame not running from the grind. Early in this season, ladies and gentlemen, Dame is the dude who's laughing last. 31, 6, and 8 in the victory. 135-110. Trailblazers smoke the Denver Nuggets. Like, it was a smoke show, and Jokic was bottled up by an aggressive athletic defense by the Trailblazers. Finished for the first time under double digits in a long time. 9 points, 9 boards, 8 assists. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. All of the games from last night. We're going to go ahead and get to it. We've got the bad guy up here, Malika Walker, Domo, KP, the executive hater, Scott, nothing but heat, and EK Johnson. If you want a mic, go ahead and request it. If you can't come up, but you want to be part of the show, do what TJ does every day, because once we start talking, I hop in there. Do what Justin does. Throw in your thoughts and your reactions down in the chat box. And before we go, also the news that was breaking earlier about an hour ago, which I was listening to on the car ride home, the appeals process in Russia for Brittany Griner is complete. And as expected, the appeals court did not stay or remove any of the charges. So she is unfortunately being transferred back to serve a 9-year sentence. However, when this first started, when people were asking me, I said three things. One, we are on hold because we are basically at the will of Russia, right? We won't get anybody back until they are willing to give them back. Two, we cannot get anybody back until the entire legal process is over. So even though the appellate court in Russia decided not to abdicate the charges, this should be the final point where now there's nothing in between the direct negotiation of a prisoner swap, to say at the very least. And three, there's nothing we can do, but the more we speak out in anger and vitriol, the less likely Russia will acquiesce. They have an intelligence system in place where they're going to source all this pro Britney, movement and use it against us in negotiation. That is a standard tactic that they have now used for over 2 decades, right? I said when it happened, prepare for the long haul. If you pray for her safety and her health, specifically her mental health, because they already, there are not a lot of black people in Russia. They are a very orthodox, religious, right Christian nation, and they do not like alternative lifestyles either. So she was already going to be vastly discriminated. Add in the fact that she's American. That's just, where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and let Domo go first. I got KP, the executive hater, after that, and then we'll get into it with the good mornings with Malika, EK, and Scott. Thank you, everybody. Domo, I know you got to run, possibly get your stuff in, and then KP will be right behind you.
No, I actually got some time today. So yeah, we'll talk basketball and how the Spurs are a playoff contender in a little bit, but I do want to talk. I want to start with Brittany. I'll say this, man. In a weird way, this is actually good news. Because it means there are no more kind of like barriers to the end of the process. What the other thing I want to say is radio silence in situations like this generally is also good news because it means that people are working. And in my experience, when you're discussing foreign dignities or especially like hostile nations, stuff happens overnight and stuff happens randomly and you won't kind of know what's going on. So I had a really good friend of mine who works at the UN. He told me one time, hey, what'll probably happen is it'll be a random weekday and at like 2 a.m. he'll get a call that like Brittany's in the air. And then that'll just be how it happens. It won't be like an election or like, anything you see in the United States where it's like highly publicized, where there's a lot of communication, because that's not the nature of how Russia, for one, does business, but also the way prisoner swaps do business. It'll be extremely quiet. It'll happen very randomly, and then you'll just kind of get an email or a tweet or however you get your news that Brittany's home. But this is good news, step in the right direction. Pray to whatever guys you pray to that she's in a good space. I will say the fact that she has been listed as a potential prisoner swap candidate means that she should get some sort of like as close to preferential treatment as you could get over there, because her health and her well-being is necessary to someone that the state of Russia wants back. So that's the only thing I can add at the moment, y'all. But go Spurs, go, man.
We'll get there, and it is. We had a couple people stop by yesterday. They were down below, and I was going to ask one of them up because he covers international and politics, geopolitics, and we've been talking because of what's going on in England right now in the UK, and he can also help share some. But he had a little bit of mix up in his engagement, so he might be able to stop in sometime between 11:30 and maybe 12:15. All right, next up we got KP, the executive hater. Come on in, KP. I know you got a busy day also planned. What do you got for us this morning? And go ahead and gritty on the Nets, man, because your second favorite team, the Grizzlies, took care of business and dispatched the boys from Brooklyn.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, everyone in the space this morning. Shout out to the family of Brittany Griner. I want to just say this, Chris. I had a dilemma yesterday because it was the Grizzlies versus the Nets, two of the teams that I root the hardest against. But I want to say burn down, well, take out the Nets from the Barclays because they just embarrassing the place, man. If we could defund can we defund the Barclays and have everyone get a different job, a different position at the same salary so they can pay their rent and they can live their lives because it's embarrassing, man. Shout out to Ben Simmons, Benjamin Simmons, I would say that because he's aging backwards. His game is going backwards, just like Benjamin, but he's useless on the court. What is he good for, and what is he good at? Shout out to Kevin Durant. I seen that look in his face. He was like, "Damn, where's Steph, man? Where is Stephen Curry? Where is the guy that I can play ball with that I don't gotta?" There ain't no pressure over there. There was no issues over there. There's no drama only with one player, but pish posh. Man, the Nets down bad, and I'm happy. I'm happy that the Yankees got swept. I'm happy that the Nets lost. And to y'all Memphis fans out there, I threw out an olive branch a couple of days ago. I seen some sneak dissing when y'all was getting blown out by 40. Seen some sneak dissing. I see everything. I'm like Lord of the Rings, all-seeing eye. I see it all. So if I see something else, I'm going to have to come back and get on Ja Morant. He got a better dance routine than he got a jumper. I don't care how many points he scored yesterday. That don't matter to me. I will get on you guys again and bury you guys where you belong in the 4th seed with the other people. So stop it, guys. Let's have I'm giving you guys until All-Star break with my olive branch. It don't got to be forever. I know I'm not going to hold up until after All-Star break. So shout out to the Nets for being the Nets. Shout out to Ben Simmons for being trash. And shout out to the Memphis fans for y'all tempting me. Just like the good brother Bruce Banner said, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely, you're welcome, and thank you for opening up the show with Nets hate, the hate for Nets World and the Barclays.
Yo, you saw that?
Like it never
Whack
gets
as hell
old.
and dumb.
Yo.
But we can continue.
What? It never gets old.
I
Like
can't
he
wait.
just
That's all I want to talk about too. Cause like I was in the Brooklyn Nets space last night. Man, a couple F-bombs was thrown. I was just in the crowd with my hands up. Malika, you saw me just chilling.
I mean, I saw you, but you know, what is the record for the Philadelphia 76ers? Let's not act like
What are we deflecting about? I didn't even
76ers
say
are
anything about
undefeated,
Brooklyn
though.
yet.
Hey,
See,
man,
We only lost, and we lost by 10. It's not like we were blown out. So we can continue with the show.
I'm ready to cook. Whenever you ready, I'm ready to cook. I've been waiting all night for this.
I have one last thing to say. I should have said this before.
Go ahead,
Turn the Barclays into a homeless shelter because it's full of bums.
Move to San Francisco, KP. Just move to San Francisco. You don't like anything about New York. Go to San Francisco then.
Oh,
like,
that's not
it's really
true.
crazy to me.
That is not true.
You know, at least with the Knicks, they're fans of a New York team. I mean, I'm in Jersey, but my team originated here. I mean, my football team actually plays in Jersey. I don't know. Like, what is? It's weird to me.
Can I say one thing really quick, KP? KP, let me say one thing really quick.
I love Times Square. I love everything about New York.
KP, you can't turn the Barclays into a homeless shelter. Not even they want to go there. They wouldn't go there.
Maybe the Brooklyn Nets can be the opening act on Broadway.
Jeez,
well, Banker, I don't know why you in here defending KP when he hates your
nasty
team too.
behavior. Nasty
it ain't about
behavior.
nothing.
Too. So I don't get.
I love KP. KP's one of the goats on. He's a goat. I love KP.
Thank you,
Man,
brother. Thank
you
you.
see
I love
what
KP too, but I
He's
don't
my
understand his
inspiration.
hate for New
Low
York
key.
teams.
you see like we can't even start. Like I'm over here trying to get the good mornings and get your voices heard, get the crowd ready, and like already 30 seconds in after the opening, it's Barclays is a homeless shelter. I'm telling y'all fall for it all the time. Shout out to TJ Kiesel down below. She does dope content. She actually has a great thread in our stream of consciousness regarding Kanye being dropped by Adidas. I urge you to go ahead and shoot her a follow and read it. All right. Hey, bad guy, go ahead and cook. What's up with these nuts? And we'll just go to
Oh
Malika after you.
man. Oh man. Yo, Desmond Bain and Ja Morant are a better duo than KD and Kyrie. Go figure, man. It's so much going on over there. Here's where I lay my Ben Simmons. How is that working for them? Chris, they're literally playing 5-on-4. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, why would they still say it's a goose? Listen, Chris, I've been following for a long time. Now, we know Ben Simmons, it's a lot of personality involved. I'm not even going to go to the mental health or nothing. But it seems like he just gets whatever he wants in life. So you want to get out of Philly and look what happens to him. He's ending up playing with KD and Kyrie. Tell me he's not at an advantage again. Tell me that this dude is not spoiled. I think Brooklyn needs to put their foot down and they need to put him on the bench. Make him into the sixth man. He's really not giving you anything that he didn't. He's doing the same thing he did in Philly. And he is, there's really a word I'm trying to get to it. Excuse me, but he's coddled. Maybe that's one way to put it. He's coddled. It's funny. Like, it's like, oh, it's just this game, it's that game. I think he got 17 or 18 points in like 80 something minutes. He won't even shoot at this point. Like, at least Draymond Green will shoot the ball. At least PJ Tucker will shoot the ball. At least Matisse will shoot the ball. This is just like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't know about Matisse, man. He ain't been looking the same.
But he'll shoot. Like, you seen him. If he's open in a three, he'll shoot it.
He'll definitely move the ball in the direction towards the basket.
So I'm looking at it from a basketball standpoint. You're playing 35 minutes with a guy who's not even willing to shoot. He's not even, like, even if he just drives, it's the same thing in Philly. Even if he just drives and more aggressive to the rim, you can't shoot nothing you don't make. So, like, yeah, it's just funny to see Brooklyn like, oh, just wait for it and this and that. This is just an accident waiting to happen. If I'm Brooklyn, I'll blow it up right now before the trade and start thinking about next year. Even if KD gotta go. If KD gotta go, send him out. Look, you got KD say, I don't want to play for this guy. They don't take the coach serious. They come in here every day blaming Sean Marks. They dealing with just blow it up. Maybe you can get Wembanyama. Maybe you can get Wembanyama.
What is the 76ers record, though? What is the 76ers record?
What does this have to do with the 76ers? Why are we deflecting? Yeah, we're like 1-2, 1-3. There's nothing to do with the Sixers.
The biggest problem we have here is Ben Simmons hasn't gotten to what Ben Simmons' career averages in field goal attempts. That's the issue we have here. So the optics look really bad for Ben, because if he doesn't take 8 shots per game and he doesn't get to the line 8 times, he's not making 15, 16 points per game. And like that's what you're complaining about. It's the optics. He's looking bad because he hasn't played in over almost 2 years. He's getting back.
Here's the thing, Chris. I've watched Ben Simmons probably just as much as you or as much as anybody who has watched, right?
You're right.
He's looking like playoff Ben Simmons when we say he regresses in the playoffs. That's who you have right now. You got playoff Simmons.
Why y'all record the way it is, though, bad guy? Sit down somewhere. Y'all not.
What is my record? I can't talk about
I'm trying to actually help you, Malika. You just keep throwing up the records.
This is weird. You're gatekeeping Brooklyn. Like, this is what I'm saying. Now you're gatekeeping the conversation based on my record. All right, guess what? I'm a Portland Trailblazer fan now. I'm a Portland fan. Can I talk about your team now? I'm 3-0.
You're 4-0 if you're Portland. All right, Malika.
Left hand up Sixers. Right hand up Blazers.
Malika, I'm trying to give you a positive. I actually see something in Ben that he is getting ready to kind of ramp up. He's already around his career average in assists per year or per game. His rebounding's back up. He's getting more engaged on the perimeter defense. My question is, when you're looking at it, can you see him either getting ready to come back, or do you see, something more? Because what I saw, it wasn't even really Ben Simmons' fault. It was Steve Nash's fault. Like, my gosh. The third quarter, it was as if he was sitting there watching it unfold, and like it was like the waiter coming over asking, "Hey, do you know what you want?" And he just was staring at the menu with like no answer. What do you got from last night?
Well, from last night, I don't know what the hell we were doing defensively. Defensively, we looked a mess. I mean, yeah, like some of the calls were egregious, but I, I felt defensively we weren't with it. And I felt like because of the way the refs were calling the game, it, impacted how guys were playing a little bit. Um, I just some of those things didn't look like fouls to me, but also their play wasn't aggressive enough, and they weren't playing smart defense. You had KD and Kyrie doing ISO, just getting there. They're going to get their buckets, but defensively, it was just a mess. I think one of the biggest things we saw, Steven Adams had a field day. Like we don't have a five with some size, and he was just anything he did, he just got away with. Like it was like I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like he was able to be physical, but like we weren't able to hang in there with them on the defensive end, and then everybody wasn't hitting their shots. I'm glad that Joe Harris is at least back on the court and getting his legs up under him. We need Seth Curry on the floor to help spread the floor. I'll be glad when he comes back. I mean, I'm not going to panic on the third game. It's the third game. It's just too early for that. I'm watching every game, looking for improvements here and there. Katie and Kyrie are going to get theirs, but they need to, like Ben Simmons. All I can say is I hope he does. It is a little early. It's his third game back in the regular season. I'm hoping, at least he gets more aggressive where he can and he gets better with every game. But hey, he's on our team. He has to get better. But our coaching, is not a secret. I'm not a fan of Steve Nash as a coach. Yes, as a point guard, he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot. He was a great point guard, but as a coach, I'm not feeling it. And Jack Vaughn, I called him Jackie Vaughn last night, but Jack Vaughn, I've never liked him as a coach. And him as a quote unquote defensive coordinator, where the hell was the defense? And where has it, where is it? Like, he ain't no damn defensive coordinator. Needs to get the hell out of here. And he's the highest paid coach on and with the assistants. And Steve Nash, I mean, he shows some emotion later, but I'm not convinced. Like the coaching, and then Sean Mark sees that we don't have a decent five. Dayron Sharp is a foul forward. He's not. He has the body for it, but he's a second year. You have him going up against Steven Adams. Like, what the hell is this? So
He got
I
ate. He
just
got
wasn't.
ate up too.
He got ate up. He
He
had no
got
business
ate
being in
up.
that position. Yeah,
That
Ben
was
Simmons is an
bad.
issue with, but we even with all that going on, we only lost by 10. But like I was just disgusted. And we came back in the third quarter, and it was just like turnstile. And Patty Mills, he may score. Some nights he don't hit shit, but some nights he does hit something. But he gives up more than he scores. Like, he's just a pine cone when he's out there on defense. And when Steph Curry comes back, limit him on the floor, please. Like, so yeah, my team, yeah, we got issues. We're working on it. We ain't perfect, but I just love how people hate the Nets, but they need to look at their own team, and their team need to fix their issues too. Like, the Nets aren't perfect. I criticize them. Like, I'm hard on them like anybody else is, but I mean, yeah, I don't
I
get it.
know. I know. Real quick, everybody down below, I want to thank everybody for popping in here. We've got the Nets up first. After the Nets, we're going to go to the Heat. Hopefully, Scott can come back. JFK, Jay the Wakandan, Mike, I got you up here in terms of next up. I want to give a shout out down below to some people in the building. Shout out to Cortland Christians here. Shout out Knicks Nation. I already told you to follow TJ Kiesel and check in. Really, really, if you want to follow what's going on in the shoe industry right now, with Kanye being dropped by Adidas, I do. I urge you to shoot her a follow and check it out. Shout out to all the Mavs fans in the building. Rolo and Jose and Jazz getting ready to drop another dope 77 Spaces. Talking all things MFFL. If you want some Mavs on your timeline, shoot them a follow. Nelly J is in the building, host of Toronto's Raptors Live post game that you can catch here on Twitter Spaces. You can also catch what she does for the Raptors Nation over on Clubhouse. Make sure you shoot her a follow. I was up on the Good Rookies podcast. I'm going to get that up here in the Jumbotron if she can DM me the actual one she wants me to put up there, and I'll get that up there. All right, we're going Nets. We're going to go around the room. We're going to start with Domo here, then we'll hit up Breeze, EK. We'll say what's up to Samir real quick, and then we'll finish the Brooklyn Nets where we're Brooklyn at. And I tell you what, man, I'm not down on Brooklyn. I'm just down on Nets fans. Let me put it that way. Domo, what you got?
The first thing I want to say is I just really enjoyed watching y'all poverty franchises, which are like not positive win records, just going back and forth. Secondly, listen, I think the Nets will be fine. Like they still have Kevin Durant, and like I think that we're at the point where Kevin Durant's probably a little bit too old to be asked to like carry a team to like the highest level of competition. I think we've seen that probably the last 2 seasons. But I mean they'll make the playoffs, they'll win, I don't know, close to 50 games, probably be a second round team, probably similar to what the Spurs will do this season. So yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I do think that they should stop. Here's my issue with big market teams and bingo card. I think this is also my issue with the Lakers and double bingo card. This is actually one of the reasons I like the Warriors. I respect the Warriors so much. Stop trying to double down and just like build while you have good stars. Like there's no reason why the Nets couldn't draft a Jordan Poole-esque player, whatever player. Like keep your draft picks while you have your good players and like kind of build it for continuous improvement, which I think the Nets need to do. Like just let this season be with you being like a 45, 50 win team, not go to the title and retool your roster from the bottom up like all good organizations should do. Like just because you have a big name and you're in a big market does not mean you always have to double and triple down consistently in an attempt to always try to win a title, because when you don't do that, you're going to be left holding the pot like they kind of are now. Like they should just keep drafting players.
Wembanyama.
Well, they did. They tried that. They drafted Kessler Edwards. They drafted Cam Thomas. They drafted Day'Ron Shaw.
Cam is solid.
Cam is supposed to be the Jordan Poole draft pick.
I mean, listen, Jordan Poole's like what I mean when I say it is like if you do that for a decade, you'll eventually get a Poole. Like you only get that type of player at that type of pick most teams once every 6 or 7 years. Like you have to do it consistently, time in and time out.
I get that. I'm just saying, like they've been trying. Like
he got the leadership around him. I mean, he was looking good when James Harden was a leader around him, and then like,
of course you got
Tyrese Maxey and James Harden's relationship. You have that type of relationship with KD.
That is some nasty propaganda right
7 Mac 11 take 30 days.
That was disgusting.
Nasty. All right, Breeze, what's up, man? You're up next, and we got EK after you. We'll see. We got Bankai wants to chime in on the Nets. We'll ask Samir about the Nets. I know JB is going to come up here and wants to cook the Nets real quick. We got Jay the Wakandan, JF, and Micah coming up next. Breeze, go ahead, man. Lay it on us. What you got?
Morning, everybody. Just a housekeeping item, Chris. So if I wanted to talk about because you be having like multiple topics, but I don't be want to get in all of them. But sometimes I'll be wanting to talk about more than one. I never spun the block here though. So if I go down, can I come back up for a topic?
Yeah, absolutely. Like
Okay.
I try to work everybody up. Like right now, there's 6 hands. Eventually, I'm probably going to get Malika and another co-host, so I can get 2 more people up, and we'll keep it moving. But yeah, come up, go down, come up. Like that's what we're here for.
All right, appreciate it. I think with the Nets, the problem, because I'm not a Nets hater. Like it's obviously like I'm a Knicks fan, so it's some smoke there. But KD is my favorite player, so I'm like impartial with the Nets. Like I don't want their demise, you know. But if it happens, you know, I'm not I'm not sad about it. It's a weird place I'm at. But for the Nets, I think the problem is like what happens when people can score just as well as the Brooklyn Nets. Like if you got KD and you got Kyrie, right? Scoring and quote unquote shooting is supposed to be the thing. What happens when every team has 2 20+ point per game scorer, or in the playoffs 2 25+ point per game scorers? The problem I see with the Nets right now is, for one, everybody, the NBA as a whole is kind of like moving the same. You remember kind of like, everybody had more of different styles back in the day. Like the Sacramento Kings didn't play like the Detroit Pistons. The new modern NBA is kind of like you got analytics you got to hit on. So even if teams don't score as well as certain people, they'll push the pace and just have more shot attempts. So with Brooklyn Nets, like there's always 3 people minimum on the court you could score on, especially coupled with the fact that Steve Nash is not the greatest. Yeah, I don't think he's an NBA coach yet. I still think he's in training for his job, that where he is right now. So the fact that Brooklyn is asked every night, Kyrie and KD, it's a minimum y'all gotta score 27, because the way that they play is just so ISO heavy for everything. So what happens when teams can score 25 minimum, and that's within their offenses? The Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown thing was just one of the combos that in the Eastern Conference that could get stuff done. Regardless of if you think James Harden and Embiid are reliable, that's another combo. DeRozan and LaVine, they could score. So the problem is that everybody is starting to do what the 2 elite scorers you have on your team can do. So that's really the problem with Brooklyn.
All right, I feel you, and I kind of agree. Like if the league catches up, the league catches up. There ain't nothing you can do about it but respect the other team, because the other team gets paychecks too. We'll go to Bankai. Bankai, keep it 60. We got EK. Then we'll go JB. We'll close out Brooklyn with where Brooklyn at, and we'll get a Memphis perspective from Miles. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Breeze, other Knicks fans down there. Listen, I don't understand why so many excuses are always being made for the Nets. Like, it's excuse after excuse after excuse with this franchise. Like, they had a big 3, then a big 2. I mean, now they have a big 3 again, I guess, if you count Ben Simmons as part of a big 3. And they can't win anything, and they can't deliver anything season after season. Oh, a big toe was on the line. Oh, this guy was injured. Oh, that guy over there. It's always an excuse with this franchise, and they always skate through it. Like, there's always an excuse for them. Like, just call it a spade a spade. Like, they're not good. They're not really that good, to be honest. That's it.
All right, appreciate it. I'm going to move you down. I'll bring you back up. We'll be talking Knicks close to the end of the second hour. Before Knicks Chat the day after, hosted by Halito, said, and I hate Sean. All right, next we're going to go to EK. EK, thank you for your patience. What you got?
Good morning, Chris, and good morning, citizens of Hoop Spaces, Malika, KP, Bad Guy, all y'all. Just continuing with the Brooklyn Nets topic. Honestly, in particular last night, the issue y'all have really is the issue that Ben Simmons was supposed to remedy, which is defense. If you just look at the stats, the Brooklyn Nets are 30th in defensive rating. Offensively, you guys are 11th. So you guys are middle of the pack. Well, a little bit higher than middle of the pack offensively, but defensively, you guys are 30th. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that when you look at your roster, you don't really have a lot of plus perimeter defenders that are acting like that right now. Like I think Ben Simmons is going to work his way into that role, but it's still early. And you got guys like Royce O'Neal, Kessler Edwards, but other than that, I mean, Kyrie Irving has never been seen as a great defender. Kevin Durant has been an improved defender, especially at the rim. Nicholas Claxton, in particular, last night, I mean, he just didn't do anything with Steven Adams. That's not really his fault necessarily. I think that has more to do with Steve Nash's scheming ability, which, quite frankly, I don't really think he has any. And then you got guys like Day'Ron Sharpe, Cam Thomas, Marcus Morris, Edmund Sumner, who really haven't been a factor this year. So I feel like the biggest thing you guys could do right now is to try to get Ben Simmons to be more aggressive. The stat that's really, really glaring to me is that he's averaging more personal fouls than field goals made. And that is just unacceptable for a guy you brought in to be the third star to add to the star power of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And like Bree said, they don't have guys who can stop other guys from scoring. When you give up 38 apiece to a backcourt in Ja Morant and Desmond Bane, while letting the Memphis Grizzlies shoot like 47, 48% from three, it's just calls for disaster all around. And if you guys don't get it fixed quickly, it's not going to be very, very good. I think you guys will, because I ultimately think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will be able to turn that around with their amazing play. But defensively, you guys got to figure something out.
Ja Morant and Desmond Bane combined 12 to 17 from deep.
Hey, Chris, is Ben Simmons just tall Russell Westbrook?
Well, funny, right now, he is the smaller Steven Adams, who rebounds less and gets more assists. What? Yeah, look, Steven Adams is averaging 5 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists on a very, very small sample size this year, right? But Ben Simmons is on the same sample size, averaging 5 points, 6 boards, 7 assists.
He's PJ Tucker with a handle that won't shoot.
Everybody is nasty.
All right, JB.
He's a 6'10" Russell Westbrook that plays defense.
Hold on, JB's got to get it to work. I want to make sure he comes up in here and gets his say, because we got to keep some form of decorum. Scott is back up here with us. Big Al, JF, Micah, you three are next in queue. JB Fortis, host of NFL NBA Now. Go ahead, you take 60 seconds on the Nets, and then we're going to get to. We'll go bad guy. We'll get 60 win, close Brooklyn out, and then get a Grizzlies perspective. JB, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. It's going to be a passionate 60 seconds. Breeze, I am a Nets hater. I think everybody should be a Nets hater, and I think you have it backwards. It's not that it's not asked for Kyrie and KD to score 27 per night. It's demanded. It's demanded by them first. And then from the team, they demand to get the ball. They demand to get their points. And then when the team struggles, right, they blame them and they demand KD and Kyrie to get there. Because if they don't get their production first, then everyone's unhappy because they're unhappy. And that attitude, that individual player attitude, is what you should hate. That's why you should hate on the Nets. Like you said earlier, it's excuses, back injuries, vaccine mandates, trade requests. Good Lord. Now referees with Ben Simmons. Awesome stat on Ben Simmons having more personal fouls than field goals made. That's a ridiculous stat. Come on, man. Who else? What other superstar would get that would get that kind of treatment? And again, EK, when you said they're going to get this turned around to where? Turned around to the 8th seed? Turned around to the play-in tournament? Where precisely are you going? I know where Kyrie wants to go, which is Los Angeles. I know that KD wants to go to any contender, right? Just trade me there. I know that Ben Simmons wants to get his mental health. So turned around to where? Right? Turned around to the bench because Ben Simmons would rather be on the bench than starting. You can't root for this team. You can't root for 3 players who don't want to be on the team, but who demand all of the attention. This is the team to hate. This is the one that represents everything bad about the NBA. Everything is bad about the Brooklyn Nets. If you're going to pick a team to root against, this is the one. thank you, Chris, for letting me plug my show. And sorry, 40. I could go forever on the Brooklyn Nets. I just think they're the worst. They're awful.
We love you though, hater.
Give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to JB Fortis.
My influence is vast, Chris. My influence is vast.
It is, man. Like, you know, I tell you, I am impressed with hate of this level, this vitriol towards the Brooklyn Nets. This is amazing stuff. I live for it. I breathe it. Like, I'm breathing it in right now. It's like clearing my sinuses, like extra strong menthol. Like, you know, the not even menthol, the stuff that your old man put on his shoulder because he was getting old, and that you accidentally, Tiger Balm, and you accidentally get it in your eye because you was jumping up on him trying to wrestle him and grab him in the back of the neck, and then you was crying tears. That's what the Nets are right now. Give me more.
Being recorded,
but it's all gonna get better when Joe Harris comes back. Come on.
Continue to hate. It's ridiculous, you know, but continue to hate. It's funny to me, but continue to hate.
Let me get 60 wins in here. He's been patient. He's come to us. He's new here. Make sure you shoot him a follow back. Welcome to the Hoop Spaces show. 60 wins. What you got on the Nets? Damn. You hate to see it. Bad guy, take his time.
Yo, Chris.
I don't know what happened. He opened up his mic and dropped. Like, hopefully he comes back.
Yeah, hopefully he does.
You scared him off
back,
all that hate, Chris.
Like Ben Simmons. But listen, Chris, I'm going to keep it real with you about Brooklyn, okay? Brooklyn is in a situation where they're just picking up the pieces. They never wanted Ben Simmons. They wanted James Harden. The plan was with James Harden. And that's what they felt like as far as value they can reciprocate to get back. This is not the plan that they wanted. Like people saying they signed up they signed up for no defense. They signed up to outscore you with KD, Harden, and Kyrie. So, like, to be honest, that's why I'm like, yo, blow it up, because you got to get a plan A. They need a plan A. Their plan. This wasn't their plan B. He fell in their lap. And now they're dealing with the same problem as the Sixers. And you know what's worse, Chris? That his value is decreasing game by game by game. They need to just move on right now. Like, Kyrie's walking for free this summer. Why not get something?
Let me move on. Let me give some credence here to Nick Claxton. I don't know what you expected him to do against Steven Adams, who since his days at Pitt was a chiseled man. Like, the dude was born from rock and stone. And Nick Claxton is like 220. All right? He going up against Steven Adams, who's probably got 40 pounds on him. Like, what did you expect him to do? Like, come on. Some of y'all, not Malika and not like a good third of the Nets fans, but some of y'all just have unrealistic expectations based on matchup. And I think we all get sucked into that. Next up, I'm going to give JFK real quick 30 seconds to talk Nets because he's got something he wants to add in here. I've got Al coming up. Knight, you're next, and then we're going to go straight to where Brooklyn at so we can start hearing from some Brooklyn fans who are just, going through it right now.
Appreciate it, Chris. Good morning. Hey, listen, me and the people from the Spaces gathered some money. We got a Boost Mobile phone with the area code of +86. Anybody know where that is? If you don't, that's China. We need to go ahead and give that to Ben Simmons and send him over there. I've been saying this, Chris, since he's been dropping 5 points in the playoffs. This is a waste of people's time to watch TV when there's other things to watch. I'll even listen to KP on his reviews on television before I watch Ben Simmons or even try to say anything good. Look, there are winners today, Chris. The winners are the people who did not have Ben Simmons on the team and the Nets who had Ben Simmons on the team. So I just want to say he is, man, if there's a lot of things I can say about Draymond, Chris, I got a whole dictionary full with Ben Simmons slanders. The man is a soccer player, a golf player, a volleyball player, a cheerleader. I don't care what he is. He ain't a basketball player, Chris. Appreciate it.
That is just cold-blooded, man. There's I want to use certain sound effects, but I found out that certain sound effects are trademarked. And so, like, if I happen to use it, like, and it goes on YouTube, they can take it down. I'm sitting here like, oh Lord, like that's what I wanted to play, and I can't, and I feel bad. All right, up next, we're gonna go to where Brooklyn at. He's gonna give us the real reason why I picked up Ben Simmons for my fantasy squad. He believes in the Nets. He knows the Nets are destined for greatness, and he's gonna tell you why you shouldn't be worried at a 1 and 2 start.
Appreciate you, Chris, for allowing me up. I'm going to just talk to Nets fans. Everybody else, you're ignored right now. It's the Brooklyn way. But I want to say what I took from last night is we saw that Ben Simmons was grimacing. He grabbed his back. I knew that he was scared. He's still a little timid, to go to the hole, to go to the rack. So, I mean, it's only 3 games into the season. We play. I wish Ben could go back to the way he played in the preseason against Milwaukee, where the pace was faster. He was a little bit more confident. We play Milwaukee tomorrow, so we'll see if maybe he gets his confidence back. And I'll be at that game also. And also, what else? I'm going to do all positives, because on Net Spaces we kept it in house and we did our thing in there. But I'm gonna keep it positive in front of you haters and you. I'll just keep it there. Anyway, yeah. So another positive. KD and Kai, they did their thing. Defensively, I do think we need to step up a little bit. Everybody knows that Steve Nash needs to go. I mean, that's just, everybody knows where I stand about that. He is not a coach. He's not. Anyway, but positive. We're keeping it positive. So yeah, we only lost by 10, like Malika said. So it wasn't a blowout, 100%. But it wasn't a blowout at all. And it's like KD said yesterday in the press conference. What beat us was the threes. Like Desmond Bane and even Ja, were on fire. The 3-point shot is what beat us. Other than that, they didn't out-rebound us, or anything like that. So. Yeah, I'm positive. It's just 3 games into the season. Go Nets.
I feel you. I'm a join in on this positivity with you, right? Ben Simmons didn't play basketball for almost 2 calendar years, y'all.
Thank you.
Like 2 calendar years, y'all. Like I get it. He doesn't shoot. Like I've said this before, Malika will tell you I've heard it. I've seen the man hit 30 for 30 from the corner 3 and like a meaningless warm up. Like, but that was like when he was young and didn't have whatever's going on now. But like 2 years off. Imagine you being gone from your job in 2 years. Kind of takes a minute to get back into your flow, right? Like, sure, he worked out in the summer. Sure, he had training camp. But, like, that's not live. Like, these players, like, they tend to be live 10 months out the year, guys. Like, he hadn't been live in 20 calendar months. It's going to take some time, and it's probably going to take more than 20 games, to be honest. He probably won't be hitting that 8 to 10 shots per game mark where I want him at until around Christmas. If he isn't getting 8 to 10 by Christmas, then you throw out the red flags and I'll join, this war on Ben Simmons. Give it to Christmas. Like, he has never not taken less than 10 shots a game in his career, right? If he gets that, he's walking 14, 8, 7, and 2 steals. And he's back to being the Ben Simmons we know, and then you can cry about him not taking 3-pointers. There. See, I can be positive too.
I appreciate
Chris, that's my thing with Ben Simmons. Like, it's just too early in the season. Like, I can't go there yet. If we're 20 games in even and we don't see no improvement, the attacks are warranted.
Steve Nash.
To me, it's more warranted then. I would understand it. The Nets hate in general is just ridiculous. Like, I think it's funny, but it is what it is. But the Ben Simmons hate, okay, but I just think it's too early in the season. I can't go there yet. Like, not yet.
The Steve Nash hate, I'm here for. Like,
Steve Nash, yeah,
I'm here for that.
He got that job to begin with,
Well,
and
look, I'm not even gonna say that, right?
Nah, there were more qualified people that deserve that job.
Qualifications are beholden to the general manager who makes the hire, right?
No,
only the general manager knows what he's looking for in a coach. Like I just say, if you are in the elite tier, which is that is what the NBA is, you have an incredibly quick learning curve that you have to have naturally if you've never coached before. Like, it's insane. But the issue is you should still see incremental improvements in what most view as basic essentials to coaching. Like how you have your timeout set up so you can disseminate information to your team so that they can also break down and have communicative process together and maybe even separately within one or twos that they need to work out 2 or 3 man actions, right? Where's that in Brooklyn? You don't see that when he calls a timeout. You see him like look like he's getting ready to give a speech of like, hey guys, let's really like each other. Like, that's what the issue is that I see. Anyway, I need to get Miles in here so we can get a Memphis Grizzlies point of view. Go ahead, Where Brooklyn. Now I'll let you close out. Give yourself 30 seconds.
You talked about Christmas. So hopefully, if the stars align, like Kendra Perkins said, Steve Nash will be at home for Christmas. He won't be on. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Hey, to the victor goes the spoils. There's just more people wanting to talk about Ness, but that's because they just don't know how good these Grizzlies can be. We have Miles, ladies and gentlemen. He's been up here a couple of times before. He's going to tell you why Ja Morant should be on my top 7 list, even though he's not. I'll get that up here. He's in the top 10. And like he's trending up. Let's just put it that way. Make sure you shoot him a follow if you want some Grizzlies on your timeline. Good morning. How you doing?
What's going on, Chris, Malika? Shout out everybody in the room. I know everybody gonna talk about Ja and Bane having a 35 plus game last night, but we don't win that game if it weren't for Steven Adams and Santi Aldama. So if you was to watch the game, Santi played real well on the block, getting rebounds, some corner threes, making some good shots because he was plus 17 last night, and Steven Adams was fucking plus 20. And he only had 9 points to 17 points from Aldama. Even though Ja, it looks like he don't find him a 3-point shot. What everybody said that he don't have, but he don't found it. And just like Desmond Bane done got back into the groove of the thing, his groove of things. I mean, just like got to think about it. We're not even healthy right now. Still got Dylan Brooks just came back from an injury. Zaire Williams isn't even playing right now. Of course, everybody knows Jaren Jackson not playing right now. So I mean, just watch out. You know, I did expect a good effort from the Nets last night. I didn't expect to walk all over them how we did last year. You know, they got KD and Kyrie, and it seems like KD couldn't miss from the mid range last night, and neither could Kyrie. When Kyrie started cooking, I got a little worried, but you know, I got Ja and Bane, so I wasn't too worried. But overall, man, it was a good, exciting game to watch. A whole lot of scoring, a whole lot of shots going down. But overall, we came out with the dub. I just want people to put the respect on the Grizzlies. You know, watch out. Chris, go ahead, start making that spot for Ja in your top 7 with this MVP thing.
I might have to. I'm telling you, it's hard when you get into these top levels because you have to kind of project what everybody's stats are going to be. And I wasn't projecting 30 plus points and 7 assists per game. And I don't know if he can keep that pace up. If he did, and it had basically what would be an AI type season, and you finish, near the same last year, like he's going to be in the top 5. The talent's undeniable. My fear is he going to take one of those dunks and take a bad fall. That's my fear. And that's your fear too. That's why he's opening up with the threes.
That's definitely my fear. But I mean, he's efficient with the threes this year. It's like he's shooting 60%. Even though it's a small sample size, I know that 60% ain't gonna stay the same throughout the whole season. But it's not like he's just pulling up and shooting threes. He's taking what the defense is giving him, and he's making them shots. He's making them respect his shots. So if they ain't gonna respect it, y'all gonna keep shooting them. So I mean,
No, I feel you. I'm gonna hit this button to play some music because we've come to the end of the first hour, so that's sad. But what's not sad is that we're beginning the second hour because like beginnings are not sad. So like let's be happy. We're brought to you by our sponsors, Slam Goods over at slamgoods.com. They're part of the Slam Online Network. It's their actual marketplace. They got a whole bunch of dope material. They've got the new cover T-shirt, so like you get the magazine cover on the shirt. The ones that are really popping right now for them are the Clippers because everybody's buying it to make fun of them. Like they're waiting for the Clippers to suck so that they can make fun of them. You know, it's dope. You gotta love fans, man. Like we're the weirdest mercurial people in existence. We complain about everything. We just simply can't be happy. All right, slamgoods.com. Buy your stuff there. Use promo code HoopSpaces. Save 15%. And make sure, you take a picture when you get it and toss it up there at me so I can add them. There you go. Real quick, we did a great breakdown of the Nets and Grizzlies. I want to thank Miles for coming up here and second him and saying, make sure you put some respect on those Memphis Grizzlies. They aren't going anywhere. Shout out to Santi Aldama. Like, didn't get any run last year, and this year he's playing exactly like Tripp without the blocks. Makes you wonder if paying Tripp $30 million in the next 3 years is a good investment.
Don't start.
All right, hey, up next, we're talking Heat and Raptors. We're going to go with JFK Scott. But before then, host of KP Views. Used to be 10:05, moving back to 8 because House of the Dragon is over. KP, go ahead.
I guess I'm going to drop down after this. I just want to send a big haiku from the great philosopher George W. Bush to all you Mets fans. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. I'm not going to get shamed. I'm not going to get fooled again. You guys are fools if you root for that team, but you guys deserve it. And everyone have a great, wonderful day. Achieve all the goals for the day that you have, except winning, because the Nets are never going to win.
Goodbye, KP. Your hate just doesn't make any sense. You live in New York and don't like none of the teams. What you say makes no sense whatsoever.
Powered by hate, the Darth Vader of Twitter Spaces
it doesn't make
leaves
sense. Why?
On a mic drop moment.
What is the reason? I don't understand. I've never met anybody from this city that didn't like one team from this area at all. Like, I don't get it. Not football, not baseball, nothing. Like, what is it? Do you like the Mets even? Like, do you like anybody from New York at all? And why not? Like, what is the reason? I don't get it.
Malika, I'm the Hope Diamond. I'm a 101, so there's no explanation for me.
Look at that.
So there's no reason for it? That's weak, Jen. That's weak to me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you give KP a follow Sunday nights at 8. I still need those names to the repurposed pop culture thing, the project. Let's go.
I get them to you today, Chris.
Bet. All right, KP, ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. The man hates New York, but loves living there because he's from there. Later today, speaking of New York, later today, the Locker Room, live from the Mecca, mashup collab. They're talking RJ Barrett, another guy y'all love to hate. I don't know why y'all hate RJ Barrett. I really don't. Gifted Blades up here. Give us a preview.
Yo, what's good, everybody? As Chris said tonight, we will be doing a film breakdown collaboration with Live from the Mecca. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Cedric. We did a whole film breakdown thread on RJ Barrett. Some of his games last season, we didn't really get too much new season film, but it's mainly to highlight what he can get better at, where his potential was, and why he got extended to the contract that he did. Tonight should be very, very fun. I'm not going to lie to you. As a basketball watcher, I think the perfect way to describe RJ Barrett, and this won't be too profane, he's ass, but he's not ass. Like, he has the real potential to be very, very good. It's just bettering his efficiency as a player, doing less crazy pull-ups, and not getting in his own head. But the numbers are what they are, and they do bear those in the space. I'm going to be fair and say RJ will live up to what his contract is, but ultimately, if you're making $20 million, going 3 for 18 to start the season, it's kind of unacceptable. But I like RJ Barrett. I do think he shows flashes of great defense and playmaking potential, and I'm excited for tonight's space, and I'm going to be very objective in our analysis of it.
Godly, man. RJ Barrett's good at basketball. Like, pains me to hear that people just kill him because he can't shoot on an opening night. That was rough.
No, I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't kill him per se, right? Like, I'm not fully.
Oh, I'm not saying you. I'm just talking about Knicks Twitter.
Oh yeah, no, they murdered him. Yeah, absolutely.
It was bad.
The Knicks don't deserve nice things though, and this is why.
You might be right. You might be onto something about that. Tonight, 8 p.m., right, Gifted?
Yes, sir. At 8 p.m. I think in total we have like 26 clips. How we do our film spaces is we break it down based on a couple things. We do top defense, playmaking, on ball, off ball scoring, and big performances and clutch.
Big dog, what are you eating?
What are you eating, Gifted?
Right.
I did not know I could hear that. I'm sorry. Very hungry.
Yeah.
I missed breakfast this morning because I was posting the thread, so I just grabbed some breakfast real quick before I go into work. So sorry about that, but
it's all good, man. Learn to love the protein shake, bro.
That's probably a good bet. But yeah, defense, playmaking, on ball and off ball scoring, places he can get better at as an overall player, and we highlighted some of his best clutch game in fourth quarter closing situations. And by the way, just so people know, clutch is not just did he make a shot. Clutch is also did he make a great pass? Did he play defense? We do all of that tonight at 8 p.m.
There you go. Make sure you tap in. Live from the Mecca, Sean with the W, Cedric, and Jeff J says. You can also catch Cedric, I am Julito, and I hate Sean on Knicks Chat a day after, going up in about 45 minutes. All right, up next, we're going to talk Heat. Damo, 30 seconds. Go ahead, because I have no idea what you're going to say. Then we're going to go to JFK, where I can tell, hey, who would be a good power forward next to Bam? Precious Achiuwa, and we'll get there. Go ahead, Damo. What you got?
I just had a clarification question. Do we have time scheduled to discuss the best team in pro sports? Because I want to give Evan some flowers.
Well, that would actually be the Portland Trailblazers, as they are 4-0. But
Chris, do this. I just want to ask clarification purposes. Is there time scheduled for us to discuss?
Well, yeah. We'll get to we'll get that in
We'll go back to mute. Thank you, man.
Yeah, but again, like, Trailblazers are 4-0. Like, I don't know what you're doing here.
Don't do this. Don't do this right now.
I'm just pointing out, like,
we've been real friendly today, Chris. Let's not do this right now, man. I love you.
All right, okay. All right. Up next, Miami Heat. They got mollywopped in that fourth quarter. They got mollywopped on the boards. Precious Achiuwa had 22.
You're killing me, Small.
We'll go JFK real quick, and we got Scott. We'll get him, and we're gonna break down this Heat game, and then I'm sure a Raptors fan is gonna pop up here and go King Kong a little bit. All right, JFK, break down what you got, and then Scott, pick up right after him. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Appreciate it, Chris, and appreciate you for your 15 minutes of positivity. You could have kept that for at least 2 more minutes for the Heat. There's a lot of good things coming out. The Heat. First things first, yes, Precious Achiuwa, we should have definitely kept. I mean, I already told you, Chris, last time, like, getting rid of Goran and getting rid of Precious Achiuwa, which is one of our younger players that we had drafted, who I thought was a good complimentary piece next to Bam, especially after his performance in the World Basketball League.
Just to let you know, you're fading in and out.
Oh, hold on. All right, can you hear me now, Chris?
Yep, there you go. That's way better.
All right, cool. Like, I just wanted to make sure y'all can hear me. But yeah, like, I've been seeing this since he was playing on the Nigerian team with Gabe Vincent. I mean, both of those boys really raised their value that time. So it was kind of tough to get rid of him, especially Goran, when I know Goran was really just injured during the Lakers final. So I know he wasn't 100%, but he's one of those players that gives us like 1,010%. And I really do miss Gogi a lot.
one of my favorite Heat players. I ain't gonna lie about you, Chris, but we didn't have Caleb Martin as well. We didn't have our rookie, so we couldn't even have a backup for that. Omer Yurtseven's out. Victor Oladipo is out, so we're looking very thin. Not sure why we didn't see signs of Jamal Cain yet, especially the preseason that he had. He could have definitely helped us out in the 4th spot. I'm not sure why Pat Riley's not working with that, especially when we're low on depth. He should have put Jimmy Butler a little bit earlier in the game. But I kind of said this before the season started when the schedule came out. Man, we got a tough 10 games. Tough 10 games. I mean, it wouldn't be surprised if we went 4-0 in the first 4 games. And I wouldn't be surprised if we went 0-4 in the first 4 games. So, I mean, I'll take our 1 win, and I'll move on from that. A lot of people are overreacting, but it's just kind of like it's still too early to overreact. It's like, what are we overreacting for? It's kind of like overreacting in the first 2 games of NFL season. So I'm just going to relax on it, Chris, and we're on to Golden State, Sacramento, and that whole West Coast tour.
All right. Appreciate it, JFK. Scott's going to be up next. Just remember, give Scott a couple seconds. Scott, another question for you. I just put it up there. JFK can come back after you. Should Gabe Vincent start? Go ahead, Scott, when you're ready.
Well, I'm just going to say, in short, we're short. We've been out-rebounded for the first 4 games. And when you bring in a 7-footer, Dedmon, he plays like he's 6'3". Who the fuck at 7 foot shoots a fadeaway skyhook? It was ridiculous last night. Our performance on the board was atrocious. And then, we had our moments. Bam was trying to get involved in the game. But at the clutch time, he's actually flailing on some of his shots. We can't do that unless we find some height, find some strong wings. We're going to have a difficult first 20 games this season. I don't know if we can make any trades or any moves, but unless players start growing 3 to 5 inches and Caleb Martin becomes 6'9", that's going to be a struggle, especially for us against taller teams, just like we saw last night with the Rabs.
Yeah, I watching the game, Kyle Lowry was 1 for 8, and he did not look good. And the issue that I saw was that he probably shouldn't have been guarding either Fred VanVleet or Gary Trent. But the problem is that means he couldn't guard anybody on the floor. My question,
guard then?
Exactly.
Who are you sticking Lowry on? Who are you going to put Gabe on? Unless we change into a 6 foot and under league.
But they just did it last game though, Scott.
It's rough. It's rough right now in Miami, y'all. Like, we're not lying. Jimmy Butler, 26, 8, and 4, looked real good. Bam, as you said, he finished with a contributing box score. He's really good at that. He gives you rebounds, steals, assists, blocks, plays good defense. But my word, another poor shooting night. 4 for 14. What is it, Scott? What is it, JF, with Bam that we can't get him close to 50% where he should be?
We don't have any ball movement, Chris. And y'all are hyping up the Grizzlies. Now, I'll tell you what, they know their roles. They know how to rotate the ball. They know how to move. And each player is actually rooting on each other's success. At the Heat right now, we're in kind of a flux. Players don't know their roles. They don't know how to get open. And we certainly are not playing small ball basketball where you rotate the ball to the other side. You're moving it. You're making the extra pass. You're finding easier shots. We're really making it difficult on Bam to score. We're making it even difficult on Hill to get his point. So you got to come up with a way to move the ball a little bit more, because if you don't, this style of play is going to detract from some of our UDFAs where they actually depended on a certain style of play. So it hurts. And we've got a lot of borderline players in the rotation. You got 3 guys. And if you take Caleb Martin out of the rotation, it shows just how thin our bench is. We really thought we had a lot of depth. I have to disagree. You have to have talent. You have to have size. Otherwise, you're just not going to have the right fish on the court. And playing a team like the Raptors, they were without Scotty Barnes last night. Hell had to go for 15 rebounds. Where would we be without those 15 rebounds? I understand Hell getting 15 rebounds is a great thing, yes, from a guard spot. But he's only getting those because we don't have anybody else go out there and feed off those boards.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. JF, go ahead, come in here, clean it up, and then we're going to move to Jess, one of the best Raptors followers you can have, and member of the Hoop Spaces community from day one that she found us, and we were happy to have her. JF, go ahead, last take on the Heat.
Yeah, so Chris, I'm gonna answer your question. I do believe Gates Vincent should be starting right now. He's been showing signs of improvement of him taking the role, moving, giving us ball movement that we don't have, especially when not having a complementary piece for Bam. And I think that's our biggest issue. Bam works well with the complementary piece. Somebody even wrote down Hassan Whiteside in a tweet, and I was like, shit, maybe I could even go for that because at the end of the day, Bam's able to do what he has to do. He's not one of those players, or I guess you can say centers, that are, legitimate centers. He's more of a hybrid. And with a hybrid, you got to have your complementary pieces. And that's what we kind of don't have, or we're still working on it. But as far as Gabe Vincent goes, I think he definitely should be starting. We can send Kyle Lowry anywhere he would like to go, even if it's the Philly. I'll take anybody you got, Chris. Who you got? Talk to me. But at the end of the day, like, I really think that Gabe Vincent has shown what he can do. I think that he is our long-term point guard next to Tyler Hero in the backcourt. And that's what should be working right now. So you can get, more, you can have that time and minutes to free up for whenever Oladipo comes back. So it's my final take. It was a rough loss, but, going 1-for-1 with the Toronto Raptors, who's supposed to be, a good team this year, I'll take it.
All right. I think they are a good team, and I think both of you have a similar problem, though. The difference is they're more athletic and younger. I think the problem is that the culture that both teams have, which is relative to their success, is actually their success is predicated upon it, can at times maybe limit their ceiling. It's an interesting question, JF, go ahead. What's your thoughts?
No, I totally agree with that. And my question is, like, with these type of organizations, what do they do about bringing in star pieces? I mean, I know these are two, franchises. One maybe I'm not sure how Toronto's viewed as a destination point for NBA players to go and play, but I know Miami is a good destination. And I'm not saying Toronto is not a, bad destination, because look what Kawhi just did. You get what I'm saying? He left San Antonio to go to Toronto. So that says something about San Antonio to me. But, I'm just saying that I think with the culture and everything, you are right. They are good development teams.
That was shade. I caught that shade. I caught that disrespect there, but that's fine. I go back on mute.
No, I'm just saying they're good development teams, and in their own way. So I got to give it to them. I'm just not sure what formula really works right now, and what are the Heat going to do, and what are the Raptors are going to do. So we'll see which team works.
Yeah, as somebody who's lived in San Antonio multiple times in his life, but is not from San Antonio, like I've got an objective take, but there's a couple people that are from there, so I'm gonna let them, if they want to respond, they can clap back. If not, we gonna move to Jess and talk some Raptors.
Chris, I was just trying to point out the facts and what I observed. I'm sorry.
And also, FYI, go ahead, Domo. Go ahead.
I just want to ask Evan, you want to do it, or
You got it, brother. Go ahead.
All right. First and foremost, the San Antonio Basketball Spurs, the East Side San Antonio Spurs, are the best organization in all of pro sports. So let's start there. Like, it's not a question. You gonna have to find Real Madrid.
Already starting on some shit, huh?
Man,
I didn't think he was going to say that. To be honest, but
Kawhi Leonard left San Antonio. He could have ever desired, because frankly, he wanted to be in LA. That's what happened. It had nothing to do with the quality of the organization. Toronto, you're welcome for that championship. Congratulations. Y'all just give us our masters for it. And on a personal note, I hope his quad never works again. That's why he's walking around looking like my mama when she limp on her cane. That's why he will probably never play more than 50 basketball games a year. And that's why PD is now a better player than him.
It must have hurt seeing him limp to that championship, huh?
Yeah, this is nasty. See where this conversation just turned? Anytime Toronto gets right up, the agendas get nasty.
Hold on. I gotta stop everybody. Toronto's very underrated as a city. Okay, if you've never been to Toronto, like, the best I can describe it to you is like a combination of New York and Atlanta, right? It's vibrant. It's got a great out like nightlife, great food life, and it's a very well-designed city. And it's now a basketball city.
New York, Atlanta, and Chicago.
Yeah. We could. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we are pro
Toronto's
Toronto
an
here,
amazing city. It is one of my 10 favorite cities in the world.
and it is better than San Antonio.
Shouts out to
Easily.
What's with the shade, bro?
It's not shade. Look, I was driving on the east side, and there was a truck that was on the divider vertical. Like, how do you get there as a driver? Nowhere else on this planet where I have driven, and I've driven like in bad places, have I ever seen a person get their truck standing on their headlights vertical in the medium of a highway underneath a bridge. It's only in San Antonio. Twice. Kills me. Food's good though.
Chris, I didn't even mean to throw shade. Toronto is a beautiful city. Shouts out to Brampton, Mississauga. Really good towns. It's where my family's at. But I've never been to San Antonio, so I can't even.
This is nasty work.
I don't even think that was shade to San Antonio. You just called out San Antonio. That's not even shade. It's just being real.
No, you lived here, Chris.
Twice.
I live in Austin. I don't live in San Antonio. That's crazy.
Austin's definitely. Well, never mind. We'll go to Justin. We're going to go back to basketball so we can get to Sean and talk some Knicks. Jess, go ahead. Talk Raptors talk. We will listen.
Yeah, so first and foremost, it's nasty work. I have to get on my Toronto agenda first thing in the morning, Chris. This is terrible. But it is not a secret that Toronto is one of the best cities in the world. In fact, I will hop on my soapbox and say it is probably the best city in the world. And no, Gifted, you're wrong, because I caught some of that shade. He said Kawhi left San Antonio to go to Toronto, so that says a lot about San Antonio. That was shade, that was nasty, that was disrespectful, and that's crazy.
But that's not shade. That's him outright saying what he felt.
It's kind of wild. I don't know, Gifted. I'm just gonna say it's kind of wild. And the thing about it is, before we jump into the game, a lot of people like to throw in Toronto fans' faces. Kawhi came, he won you a chip, and he left. But what everybody misses is the fact that he was probably going to stay. But what no one knows is that him and his uncle sat Masai and Bobby down and said, "We want all of the city. We want the nation of Canada. We want the flag. We want your team. We want it all." Right? They wanted us to give up Pascal, OG, and Fred, plus all of our picks to blow up our team, to bring Russell Westbrook and Paul George to the squad. And then they wanted all of Drake's companies. They wanted OVO. They wanted a lot. And Masai said no. So not only did, Kawhi want to go home, but to stay, he wanted everything that we had. And we just decided not to do that. So we're not crying. We're not sad about it. We got the chip. He went home. That's fine. Now to get to last night. Listen. I am always caught between wanting to play Miami every night or never again, because clearly we have their number. I love what happens when Miami and Toronto do battle. And the first two games, we almost took that last one. They blew a 20-point lead and lost by 3 points. That's nasty work. That's crazy. And then without Scotty Barnes, we took the dub because we had a beautiful fourth quarter. And I think what the league is missing is that the Raptors are really going to be one of the hardest teams to beat night in, night out in the regular season. And we're seeing it. We're seeing defense show up. And if we have just an average or an above average shooting night from Pascal, Fred, Gary, and when OG decides to wake up and show up, it's going to be nasty business, guys. It's going to be nasty work. And I don't think there's a team in the league that's going to have an
I'm going to say one thing. You won the game last night because Siakam was feeding Fred VanVleet. His kickouts were just great. He was going down into the post, drawing two players and kicking out for wide open threes. Siakam won that game last night, not with his scoring, but with his passing.
Oh, and we're going to talk about it. He's been winning all the games. Even in the games that we lost, he still looked like an MVP caliber guy. He started the season saying he wants to be top 5 in the league. And some of us in Toronto, we kind of said, okay, my boy, what I'm saying, you're the number one option right now. You look good. Let's have a conversation. It's not as funny anymore. He's looking like a top 5 guy. He's looking like a really, really great scorer, because I was told he has no bag. I was told he was a Beyblade. I was told he's not a player that you can win with. And clearly you guys are wrong. Clearly
I can't wait to respond to that. Go ahead, Jess.
Define winning. Define winning.
I cannot wait to respond to that. Go ahead, Jess.
Pascal is clearly, and again, I'm not saying we're talking championship aspirations right now.
Then what are we talking about?
But what we are talking about is probably having a top 4
regular season finish in the league. I don't think that's out of the question anymore. I think it could happen in the East. I think we could be at the top tier of the East and shock a lot of teams. And I'll land my plane by saying, Miami, I bet you want Precious back, eh? I bet you want Precious back, eh? He was looking nice. And I'll land my plane right there.
So Toronto's goal is to be the 2020-2021 New York Knicks. Okay, just want to make sure we got that.
No, that's not fair. Our actual goal is to see how great Scottie can be and to keep watching Pascal take the leaps and shock the league. That's the goal.
Scottie can be great. Like there's no lie there.
That's what we want out of this season. So hey, man, it feels good to be a Raptors fan today.
I have a slight problem with this, right? So
of course you do, Gifted. You're also a hater. Let's take up the KP spot. What's going on?
Let's go Gifted and then Grindhouse after you, so we can get Grindhouse in here too.
I think it's funny how you call me a hater when I've told you that I think your team is going to make the playoffs. I was with you. But let's talk about some things. A, Pascal Siakam absolutely has had a very strong season. He's absolutely in that top 10 conversation, top 5 conversation as far as performances to start the season. He's been a marvel. He's been spectacular. I don't take that away from you. But to then double down on that and say top 4 finish amongst the league, that means West and East combined.
Well, no, I said in the East. In the East. I said in the East.
Okay. I can slightly buy that more. Slightly. I don't love it, but I can slightly buy that more. That's fine. I also just want to remind you of what many Raptors fans were saying about, Scottie Barnes is the future of the team.
Good Lord.
We should trade Pascal Siakam. I remember those conversations. Do you still want to trade Pascal Siakam, Jess?
First of all, no Raptors fan with common sense was saying that. I'm not one of those. You know I'm not one of those. We've been talking all offseason. The trade Pascal talks was wild to me. And any Raptors fan that had common sense knew that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that this morning.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. My only point is I think Pascal's really good, but let's not get away from the fact that he still doesn't have a bag. He's just very good at what he does. Just because he's playing well does not mean I'm going to take back any comments. He was absolutely a Beyblade. Precious opened up more room for him to spin, but he's still very, very good at basketball.
I just don't understand how even at his worst he was a Beyblade that nobody could score on, though. The spin move was still nasty work. People were just upset about it.
Yes, because Beyblades are made of metal, so naturally it's harder to score on metal.
Now, I think Pascal is severely underrated. Like we found so much success with him. Like over the last couple seasons, even without Kawhi, we didn't really take major steps back when Kawhi left. Pascal got injured, he came back, and he brought us to a really good finish. Like all seasons prior. So to me, I respect on his name.
I see him as properly rated. I see him as a top 25 player. I don't see him as a top 10, maybe borderline top 15. Like what he has though is the ability and trust from a coach that allows him to maximize his personal game. That's how I see it. It's still phenomenal. Let me get Grindhouse in here, Jess, because we need to move on to Knicks talk so Sean can talk and we can talk about what nobody wants to admit. The New York Knicks got better. I love it. First, though, we're going to go to Grindhouse. We'll get a quick reset. See you later, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you shoot my man Nothing But Net a follow. I am not responsible for any Fireball content. Grindhouse, let me go ahead and get your take. Then we got some Knicks talk and then Spurs right after the Knicks talk. Appreciate everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris, and good morning, room. Incredible game last night. Just as a basketball fan, not even just as a Grizzlies fan, you get 4 guys over 35 points. I think that was the 3rd time in NBA history that happened, if I'm correct, that I seen last night. So, and who would have ever thought Ja Morant and Desmond Bane would be going toe to toe, points for points with a Kyrie Irving and a Kevin Durant. So, Kevin Durant had a very strong statement after that game last night, too. He says, without a doubt, that Ja Morant is the new face of the NBA coming up. So I'm not going to take that to heart. I'm not going to start pushing the agenda with that. But I think that's high praise from a guy like KD. Some of y'all didn't have Ja Morant as a top 7 MVP candidate so far this season. But if we're just talking about these first 4 games, In my opinion, he should be up there. And it was, like I said, once again, just a very good showing from Desmond Bane. He came in the season struggling these first 3 games for sure, but he's looking like he got back together last night. Not sure why the Nets left him open so much. I was at the game, and it wasn't like we just ran a whole lot of crazy sets or anything to get him open. It was more of just Brooklyn breaking down defensively a little bit. Another strong showing from Santi Aldama as well. Anybody that hasn't heard of Santi Aldama yet, once your team face him, y'all will hear about him. A lot of people call him Santi Alabama because they don't know how to say his name, but Santi Aldama. And also John Conchar. John Conchar had, I know KD scored 37, but John Conchar had like at least 5 possessions or 10 on KD where he played phenomenal defense. So shout out to Conchar as well. And appreciate y'all once again letting me up.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you stopping by to give us, the take of the Grizzlies, who a lot of people thought was going to regress. They thought last year was an aberration. They took advantage of some teams that faltered with some injuries and shot up. And right now, they have not missed a beat. And that's without Tripp. And Tripp comes back. You get even better interior defense with this help defense, and the Grizzlies can be scary. All right. Knicks talk with Sean. What's up, Sean? Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world.
Hey, Sean, before you start.
Yes.
Did you know that right now the New York Knicks are 2-1?
I did know that.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have beat Detroit and Orlando, and I can hear people probably snickering in the audience like, "Ooh, Detroit and Orlando." But these are the same Detroit and Orlando teams that all of hipster NBA Twitter was filleting, like, who could be the 10th seed? Detroit. Who could be the 10th seed? Orlando. Who could finish above the Knicks? Detroit. Watch out for Detroit. Cade Cunningham, and we beat them both handily.
So one more question. One more.
Yes.
Who holds the highest point differential starting out in the Eastern Conference so far this year?
I don't know, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say the New York Knicks.
They're number 2.
I knew there was a setup.
Cleveland. But that's the point, is they're number 2. Like, where were y'all last year? Not number 2.
Not number 2. Actually, you know what? We might have been number 2 because we beat the brakes off of Orlando in Game 3 by like 42 points. So we might have been.
Nah, you finished with the negative last year.
No, I'm talking after 3 games.
Oh, after 3 games, I could look that up. But you beat the brakes off that. Yeah.
First, I want to say something really quickly. I actually want to give a shout out to Raptors Twitter and Raptors fans because they have done an amazing job of moving goalposts and setting expectations wherever they want when it's convenient for them, so that everything they do is successful, and that's why they're the best team. They're the best organization in the league because they won the championship in 2019, or now it's big. Hey, we made the playoffs. We're great. It's just very interesting. Like they literally set whatever criteria they want, and it's okay. You just have to deal with it. And if you have the audacity to say, you guys love to chirp about how you have this great development system, you're great players, and this and third, and Pascal's him, and Scotty Barnes is going to be this, and then you tell me that your goal for this season is to be the 2021 New York Knicks. Who's going to be the top 4 seed? Like, is it Uche Wally or is it One Mike? I can see why people are annoyed with that fan base. Toronto's still an amazing city. Love it to death. Regarding the Knicks, listen, the Knicks won last night. Julius Randle Julius Randle, it's been 3 games. He's playing much better. He's playing within the offense. He's not trying to force things. I think I heard the other day, like, through 3 games, all but 5 of his shots are either in the paint or behind the 3-point line. So he's take those mid-ranges out of his giant. RJ Barrett was, and I listened to a gift that said he's right. He was ass in Game 1, and that is not acceptable. 3 for 18 in the manner that he got to was not acceptable. He was better in game 2. He was ass in the first half of game 3, and he was last night, and he was really good in the second half. And I think he is trying to justify the contract, and maybe RJ reads his tweets because there was a lot of just like head down, try and get to the basket no matter what. It's like stop forcing these shit, stop forcing it up. Like play within the offense. But listen, like I said, we beat Detroit 2 nights ago on Friday. We beat Orlando last night. The Knicks are going to beat the team they're supposed to, and they're going to play hard against the teams they're not supposed to, and they'll win some and they'll lose some. And you're going to look up, and the Knicks will have won 45 games, and you'll be like, how did that happen? And I can tell you how it happened. It happened because for the first time, because we now have Jalen Brunson is easily the best point guard this team has had since Stephon Marbury, and that's a long time ago. And I will say this again, not enough is being made of the fact that the Dallas Mavericks let Jalen Brunson walk out of the door and away from a top 7 player in the league for absolutely nothing. And they did it for absolutely nothing because they were butthurt that Knicks brass showed up to a playoff game. So the Knicks said, hey, this guy wants to leave. Would you like to set up a sign-in trade? They said, we're not helping you get him. If you don't get him, go clear the cap space yourself. And the Knicks said, you know what? Cool. And they did it. And they got him. And now he is an amazing player to watch. And I see there's some people on mass Twitter, not all of them. Bro's not doing this. Bib's not doing this. Like, shout out to them. People talking about Jalen Brunson wasn't that good. Like, come on, B. Oh, now he's on my team. Now he's not that good. Cry more. Please cry more. The New York Knicks are a better team this year than last. Unfortunately, because the East is a juggernaut, like we may end up 8th, but we are going in the right direction.
You are definitely agitating some of Raptors Twitter. It's hilarious. I love it.
Raptors. Listen, me and Alex don't agree on many things, but one thing we agree on that fan base. Listen, they are on this app. They're bottom 5.
Which is hilarious because I completely disagree. I've never had a negative experience with Raptors Twitter.
They're awful.
We don't.
That's because you bitch slapped them in the first round last year. So they did nothing to you. But listen. All right, I'll tell you what.
Why are you trying to get me in trouble, man?
The next time we play the Raptors. The next time the Knicks play the Raptors, win or lose, go into a Raptor space after the game, and you tell me what you do.
All right, let me get through with some people up here. Anthony, my man Anthony, good day. Your Knicks are 2-1. You are actually excited about this team, which is a rarity because normally you just say they suck and you're gonna end up waiting for the Yankees season.
I'm always excited about them. Just sometimes they piss me the fuck off. So I'm happy about something in New York sports. You know, my Yankees got swept, so you know.
Yeah, they did. They did. They looked bad.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Well, we were trying not to. We were trying to talk about the Knicks, but you brought the Yankees up. So
I'm just saying.
They got swept. All right, appreciate it. You got anything else you want to add in here, Anthony?
Hey, just just keep it going. You know what I'm saying? After the Hornets game, we got a very gauntlet, tough schedule coming up. You know, really gonna see how this team competes with the top dogs in the NBA. So, really about it for right now.
Yeah, after that Charlotte game, you got Milwaukee, Cleveland, Atlanta, Boston, and Philly, or some order.
And Baldy comes back. Yeah.
Oh God, man! Like you really gonna just be doing? Okay.
Yeah, it's still beef with him. Yeah, it's still beef.
Yeah, still beef with him. Sean, go
ahead. What's good, Ant?
Trey.
Oh. Oh my goodness! I'm actually gonna be. Yeah, we got the next Wednesday night. I'm gonna be.
Oh God! This is why. Like Anthony. He's here for an acquired taste. He knows what to do. I'm dying laughing. I got tears in my eyes. Malika, your hands up. Go ahead. But what do you got?
I'm curious. I wanted to ask Sean. I like your lineup now with a new point guard. With Jalen Brunson, like you said, okay, after the Charlotte game. I just want to say, please sleep on a Charlotte game. Please go to the game not preparing for them, just not watching any film, not planning on having to play hard. Yeah, that'd be good.
Malika, that's a cakewalk for us.
No.
Right. No, go in with that attitude. Go in with
See,
that attitude, Anthony.
This is how we
that'd
get
be great.
This is how we get in trouble. So last year, we won our first game. That was a double overtime against Boston. I believe we lost the second game. And then we went and we played Orlando. We went to Orlando, and I shit you not, we beat them by like 42 points. And that was the second game. The second game.
We beat Orlando.
We beat them by 42
points. at Orlando.
And then they came. And then game 3, they came to the Garden on a Sunday night, and we were like, oh yeah, and they won. And we were like, okay, that's just a blip in the matrix. But then we played them in the Garden again, like a few weeks later, and they won again. And so for me, this game, I was like, listen, I would have accepted a 2-2 start because I was like, I can see them flushing one of these games down the drain, but it can't be Orlando because Orlando walked to the MSG and grinded their feet on our couch twice. So this team now has no business, especially after last year, they have no business overlooking, underestimating, brushing by anybody. So they need to be focused, and they need to be 3-1 because it wasn't just ran off the schedule. Like after that, it's tough. Milwaukee, Cleveland, Atlanta, Philly, Boston, Minnesota, Brooklyn. Like we need 3-1. We need 3-1.
All right, let me
Can I ask one question?
Real quick.
Thank you. What is your honest prediction, or what is your honest outlook looking at Atlanta? What do you think, like in terms of a Knicks fan, y'all need to do to ensure y'all walk out with a win? Because I love that backcourt in Atlanta.
The New York Knicks are 7-1 in their last 8, 7-1 in the regular season against Atlanta. So beating Atlanta in the regular season doesn't really scare me. I would say yes, the backcourt is improved, but I think if I check my notes here, I see that the Hawks allowed 126 points to Charlotte on Sunday. Listen, let Trey do what he wants. Actually, there's two ways to look about it. You could let Trey do what he wants, but don't let him play make, or you decide, you know what, Trey Young ain't gonna beat me, and make someone else beat me. And honestly, now that I think about it, I was like, you know what, Trey, you not cooking. DeJounte Murray, and you're 33% from 3, you got to beat me. You have to beat me. Someone else, DeAndre Hunter, or whoever else, or Colin. Someone else got to beat me, not Trey. That's that.
Just want to throw in there that the Charlotte win, although it was a win, really came because Nick Richards went 9 for 9 in 20 minutes.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't know, because Kelly Oubre up like what, 25? And Dennis Smith Jr.
had so Dennis Smith Jr. had literally the game of the last 3 years for him, and Nick Richards, right? Like if you were going in to gamble, you wouldn't have bet any money on it. Like that's the beauty of the sport. Anybody can win. I'm just pointing out, the Hawks really lost to Dennis Smith Jr. and Nick Richards.
That's an indictment on the Hawks if they let Nick Richards put up 20 and 11. What is going on?
In 20 minutes!
They probably just didn't stop.
See, Sean, your reaction, please. I want the Knicks to actually not, to have the same approach as Atlanta.
Thibodeau is looking at that video. Thibodeau is looking at that video right now, you see Nick Richards? Y'all can do that to us. Ice.
And just for those who don't know, James Bouknight is playing. They are not, preemptively suspending. They are waiting for the legal process to go through before we figure out what happens. All right, I want to get Breeze in here, Verl's in here. Micah wants to respond to the shot about Jalen Brunson and the Dallas Mavericks. We got Al, we've got Anthony who's just going to chime in, Bonkai and Adam. But we only have 12 minutes till the next chat a day after KCBA with I Am Julito, Cedric Shine, and I Hate Sean. Make sure if you want to continue the next conversation, head up over there and then check out tonight at 8 p.m. live from the Mecca. Teams Up with the Locker Room and NBA Film Spaces. breaking down R.J. Barrett. Like I'm high on RJ. Like I don't understand why people aren't high on RJ.
Because he don't got no bag. Because bag, that's why. You don't got no bag. You can't be nice.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Sean. It is not bag. It is shooting 40% from the field.
There you go. APU.
It's because he didn't snarl after making a 3 in a YMCA in Orlando, Florida.
All right, I see you, Maddie. I'm gonna get you. You must have glitched off. I'll get you back up here. Next up, Breeze. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. For the Knicks, I just know that we're dealing with like a roster full of like like not complete guys. Like everybody on the team for the most part has flaws in their game. The only flaw I see right now in Brunson game is that he's just 6'1". So he's probably the most complete player that we have. In watching many games where we fumbled that bag yesterday, when the Magic actually, get the lead and stuff like that, you could just see the difference in having a point guard and what that means. I'm kind of excited to watch him. The first game against Ja, he had a bad game, but I'm excited to see him go up against some of the top point guards just to see how he performs in those type of movements. But for overall, I still got the team. I got the team just one under you, Sean, 44 wins. But I think a lot of the stuff that they're doing right now is just sustainable. So I'm just happy to see competent basketball. I'm not going to be jumping off any type of windows because I know we're mid, but we could get to higher levels of mid. So excited to just watch competent 2022 basketball with actual.
What a great take!
Breeze is amazing.
We need more of that.
That shade.
We do. Oh man, look, I'm here so I don't get fined. That's what I'm gonna be saying.
45 games. Usually.
40. I said 45. Breeze says 44.
Fuck that. We went 50. Fuck that.
Oh my!
Here we go. Here we go.
Knicks fans
we off and running.
Begins, man. This is how it starts.
Knicks fans always got to take it too far.
We off and running.
1-3, dog.
Anthony gonna be outside in a Spider-Man suit with a bottle of Hennessy, screaming 50.
Kemba Walker was going to be an all-star, dropping 25 and 10.
All right, I appreciate you, Breeze. Love the take. We'll catch you tomorrow. Bakai, go ahead. I got a couple more people I want to work in here before 12 p.m. Go ahead, Bakai.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say having Jalen Brunson here is huge. I think last season, you know what? I'm thinking a little bit about it. Obviously, it's only 3 games, but what if last season was an anomaly, really? Because I feel like everything that could go wrong for the Knicks last season went wrong. Like Julius, like playing abysmal and having a down year. Derrick Rose getting hurt, missing most of the season. Alec Burks running point. Tibbs forgetting how to coach. What if like things turn around this year? I mean, so far 3 games in, it looks like it's better. I mean, Julius is playing better. I know RJ still has to find his stride a little bit, but I trust him. Like, I believe if anybody can turn things around easily, it's him. And again, Jalen Brunson. It's somebody mentioned yesterday. Last season you had Alec Burks, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett try to close out games, right? And we lost a lot of close games that we could have. We should have won technically. Or it was like being down 2, being down 3. With Jalen Brunson there, RJ Barrett and Julius Randle don't have to be the ones making big decisions down the stretch or closing out these games. Jalen Brunson can do that because he's been there. He's been to the Western Conference Finals, right? He's been in big playoff games so far, and he's delivered, and he's proven. So now that you have that should easily account for like the wins that we didn't get last season due to not having a real playmaker that could make decisions and close out games, right? So I'll put that out there. Keep an eye on that. And 2 more things. Toronto's not the best city in the world. Hell no. It's New York. And like Sean said, Toronto fans, I would never want to deal with that fan base. To me, that's the worst fan base in the NBA.
Oh my gosh,
they're bad.
They are not bad.
With Hawk fans, I love Hawk fans more than I do Raptor fans because that fan base.
They're only saying that because they've had terrible. They've had terrible moments with
I think
Raptors fans
Bankai
like
should
this.
deserve the
It's
most
because
improved
They
award.
overrate.
yeah,
Listen,
it's
hold
because
up. They overrate the hell out of that team. They overrate the hell out of every single player they have. They're the
Don't
best.
Knicks fans do the same
No,
thing?
not really. If you really think about it.
What are you talking about?
Whoa, wait. Don't even say not really. I was told Kemba Walker was going to be an
That was an
all-star.
anomaly. That was Mardochi.
I was told
both,
Evan Fournier was going to be dropping 20 and 5.
both fan bases do it.
Like,
Really,
that's
First of all,
sick
Wow.
behavior.
Listen. I'll just say it like this.
The
I'd rather
Toronto
deal
hate
with.
is
Listen,
strong today.
I'd rather sit in a bonfire with Hawk fans than Raptor fans any day of the week.
All right,
Listen,
I
it's because they have
gotta move you down because I've got Keenan trying to come up here to yell at you.
It's because they have these. It's because they have these accents. Like your team's not that good, fam. Like that, they have these accents, so you think they're nice. No, they're fucking.
All right, check this out. I've got Keenan here, but I need Verl to go. Verl, you got 60. Adam, you got 60. Micah, you got 60. We'll then go to Keenan. We'll let Sean close out. We'll reset the room with Evan and Rolo and Damo. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Thank you for letting me up. I would just like to say, just shout out everybody with their great work. I need everybody to watch Malika's Hoop Spaces with Ryan about the Lakers legacy documentary. And also, Chris, I think you deserve a ding too because you predicted that RJ Barrett was going to get the second Knicks contract. History there. The second player. The first player was actually Charles Ward. Oh, and Bankai deserves a ding too. Most improved award for this season.
I don't know. He's getting into the show killer status again. Like he was doing good, and then like now he's back to like needling in and saying like, "Oh, we don't do this." It's okay, Bankai. We love you. Go ahead, Verl. Finish.
Thank you for your time, Chris. I'm going to switch back to listener.
All right, appreciate it. Everybody shoot Verl a follow. All he does is support the community and the creators that we've come together and met each other, like literally here on Twitter Spaces. Up next, we'll go to Adam, and then we'll go to Micah, and then we'll let Keenan weigh in on this Toronto Raptors hate, which, like, I'm here. Like, I don't think they're as bad as some other fan bases. We'll discuss in the third hour. Go ahead, Adam. Thank you for your patience, sir. Floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing me up. The Philly 76ers, I lived in New Jersey, and I think it was a Spectrum back in the day, and I'm rooting for them, and I'm for the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, I'm a New Jersey fan, so I'm part of the community, and appreciate the space. I just wanted to say thank you. I've been listening, and in terms of tonight, I don't know. And what happened to the Lakers? I just want to know that too. But if anyone can answer that,
we'll definitely talk about it in that third hour when we bring up the Denver Nuggets, because that's who the Lakers play next. Appreciate you coming up and sharing, Adam.
And the Sixers did win last night, so.
Yeah, trust me. I know, because Doc Rivers is a great coach, y'all. I try to tell you. Like, literally sat here for weeks trying to tell you Doc Rivers is a great coach. All right, Adam, I need to get Micah in here for 60 seconds. Micah, 60, go.
Yeah, you're right. I had to reply to that comment. So I've been saying this. It's okay to admit your former player makes another team better. And that's what Jalen Brunson does. We let him walk out the door for nothing because y'all don't got nothing on your roster that we want. Okay? We're getting Mitchell Robinson.
Bro, that's not
for $5 million.
That's a poor argument. This is a poor argument.
Yeah, you gotta come better than that. That's not an excuse. You can't just give him away for nothing. Stop it.
He is unrestricted. We can't do nothing to stop that.
You could
He's
have did
unrestricted.
Well, yeah, no,
Okay.
he's referring to Dallas's failure to secure Jalen Brunson when he was extension ready because they didn't want to pay him the money. That's all. Because that's just something you can't deny. Because if they go to him instead of trying to shortchange him the first time, give him the $26 million he was asking for, he probably doesn't leave Dallas.
Yeah, you're right.
All right.
Yeah, you're right.
Appreciate it,
Hey,
Mikey.
So that's stupidity.
Year 51 and counting. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for your time.
All right, we'll catch you tomorrow morning, Mike. Excuse me as I'm trying to drink some water. All right, next up, we got Keenan. He's going to answer Sean's claim and others about this Toronto Raptors hate. Like, I don't get it. I find them very hilarious and self-deprecating and entertaining. Keenan, what's up, man?
What's going on, y'all? I don't know. I just heard a lot of hate today and a lot of lying, too. Sean, you saying top 4 seed in the East back then, like it's the East now. Like getting a top 4 seed right now is like an accomplishment. Like in the East that we're in, it's definitely a feat that needs to be acknowledged. And what I wanted to say about the Pascal Siakam slander, you say he got no bag, that just means you're a casual gifted. That just means you are what we call a basketball casual. Yeah, you just don't watch the games. It's okay. It's okay. You know, sometimes
I'm definitely
we don't
casual.
have time to watch all
I
the
only
games.
watch football.
We
I
don't
only
have
watch
all
football.
the
You're right.
time
You're
to
right. You're right.
watch all the games, brother. We don't have all
I
the
only
time
watch
to watch
football,
all the
brother. I
games.
only watch football.
Hey,
Right.
I'm talking. Let me talk. Let me cook. So, you know,
All this
you don't
cooking.
think he has a bag. You were in his spaces the other day trying to say that Pascal, like, whatever, this and that. You're like, oh, he disappeared in the fourth quarter. Bro, he was the best player on the court in the fourth quarter. He had like
I
6,
love
7
Tom Brady,
assists
man.
in like 12 minutes. Like, nah, bro, stop this. And yeah, I just want to say, the Knicks are good. They're just a little better than mid. Proud of them. Good for them. It's tough when you didn't draft the best player in your draft class when you had all those opportunities too. You had Tyrese Halliburton right there, and Tyrese.
Oh, the Tyrese Halliburton circle jerk fest. Good God Almighty!
It's tough out here, bro. Hey, it's tough out here, man. You know, not everybody can have a good development system like the Raptors. Turn a 27th overall pick into a 2-time All NBA player and gonna be 3-time this year. Yeah, so he's averaging like 27 and 10 and about 6-7 assists. So, you know, keep it up.
The Knicks have found NBA players in the 25th pick of the draft 2 straight years. They found.
I'm talking about all NBA, not just an NBA player. Like I'm not talking about a Chris Boucher or something, bro. I'm talking about all NBA.
Raptors fans, they move their goalposts.
Chris,
the
real quick, I got a
criteria.
question.
Let me finish. The criteria is always different for them. When they draft some of the 27,
there's levels to this.
We drafted some of the 25.
Let me, Sean, let me get Al in here. He's got to get going. Al, go ahead.
No. I just had a question for him.
Oh, I thought you said you had to go.
I want to check his credibility.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
What is Siakam? What is his? What do you think he is? Top 20, top 10, top 5? What do you think he is? I just want to check your credibility.
Personally, I think he's a top 15 player. He was a top 15 player last year too. But
I thought you was going to say 5 or 10. Then I was going. That was going.
Yeah, no. Keenan's good people.
I think he's been performing like a top 10 player this year. Undoubtedly, he's been like one of the best fourth quarter operators in the NBA so far in the first 4 games. He's only played playoff teams. He hasn't played a non-playoff team yet. He's played like tough defenses. They put 3-4 guys on him at once. He has to pass out of those. It's insane. You should look at some of the passes he makes. They're Jokic-esque. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, I like Pascal, and I am not one to think he doesn't have a bag. I just think that it's a very non-aesthetically pleasing bag. All right, I got 1203.
As an NBA casual, can I respond real quick? As an NBA casual,
sure, man. Like I guess so, because you're wanting to. I'm not gonna stop you.
Yeah. So yeah, as a diehard Tom Brady fan, for me, occasionally when I watch basketball, bro, I mainly look at bag and like how the ball actually goes into the rim. And Pascal just doesn't have a bag, but he's really good at basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll convert. You know what I'm saying? And like adding Precious is so key for that roster because he gives them added spacing, so Pascal has more room to spin, and I respect that. So I like Pascal Siakam. I think he's really, really good. And we're going to be making a film space about Pascal soon as well. Just want to throw that in
there. There you go.
But James is a.
Hey, yo,
It's getting
gifted, man.
testy. It's getting testy.
I'm very sorry.
Nah, it's okay. Like this is
wild.
Yeah, well, no. So I always have a joke when it came to Marvin Bagley. Sean remembers this because like he just went left again. And Pascal kind of has one move that he relies on a little too much for my taste. I think he actually can develop a bag. I think he has a bag. I don't think it's just fun to watch, right?
Pascal Siakam has never had a season as good as Julius Randle did. Think about that.
Whoa. And that is why you need to turn it.
Wait a minute. Are we gonna, okay, you mean the season where he was all-star and all-NBA? That season?
The season after they won the title, yes.
Yeah, you just had the whole room lean one way there.
Yeah, I'm about to say I don't know about that one, my brother.
All right, we got 12 o'clock. We're in the third hour. I have to hit this button to help remind me to do stuff I'm supposed to do. Want to shout out to everybody who's down below. Thank you for making any part of your day part of Hoop Spaces. We had games last night. Let's go ahead and tell you about them because like that's why we're here. Is to talk ball. So, we had teams that lost that really needed to win. We had a team that really needed to win, and that was my 76ers. Doc Rivers is a great coach. 120-106. That's right. James Harden, 29-9-11. Raptors beat the Heat, 98-90. Knicks beat the Magic, 115-102. Bulls beat the Celtics, 120-102. We're definitely going to get in that. Our girl Nat is here because they got blown out in that second quarter. The Jazz fought to the Rockets, 114-108. Make a point. If you got League Pass, check out a Rockets game. They're a fun watch. Grizzlies over the Nets, 134-124. To Malika's disdain, like everybody thinks the Nets are done. I don't think so. I think they'll be fine. Spurs, 115-106. Heading there next with a couple of people who are locked in to the Spurs, and they are just damn Spursy. I hate the Spursiness of this Spurs team, and we're going to ask the question, is this like a legitimate long-term trend where they're going to play themselves out of a chance to get Victor Wembanyama? Nuggets also fall to your Western Conference leaders, the Portland I don't run from the grind Damian Lillard-led Trailblazers, 135-110 over everybody's smart pick to upend the Warriors in the West. Yeah, that's right. The Denver Nuggets didn't look too hot last night, whereas Damian Lillard and company just looked phenomenal. We'll get into that heading out to close the show. But we will move to Sean so he can get us his last Knicks take of the day. And then we're going to go straight to Evan Townsend and Project Spurs and Damo, my friend, and talk Spurs because, they're 3-1 and they're 3-0 on the road. Sean, go ahead.
I did not realize that Pascal Siakam made second-team All-NBA 2019-20. So I would like to apologize for my comment because, you see, I can admit when I am wrong.
You a stand-up guy for that, Sean.
Look at that. Everybody
I want to point out, he made All-NBA second team with no bag still, by the way. That's not hate. That's just a fact. It's okay. It's okay. He's really good at basketball.
Yo, if he's got a move, which is the spin move, he has
that
a
spin
bag.
move is the only move he got, Chris.
But that's still a bag.
Come on, Chris.
You know where he can develop more of a bag?
I ain't gonna lie. That shit might be coach
You know where he
bag.
can develop more of a bag?
San Antonio.
I think we know. See, turn me up.
All right.
Nice.
Pascal Siakam in the Spurs.
I'm going to ask Gift, did Tim Duncan have a quote-unquote, how we define today is bag, the big fundamentalist?
Oh, no. Tim Duncan had a duffel bag. That's what he had.
Listen.
So I just wanted to, so he did have a bag.
You see how hard this is to talk Spurs, y'all? Like I even said we're like trying to move the Spurs, and we just moved over to Tim Duncan. Like we're not going to give credence to the 3-1 just
I'm just
behind
curious of what the
Trailblazers.
term bag means.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
He's
no, I know.
tween, hezzy, tween, spin move. That's
I
what
mean,
it
when
is.
I think bag, I think go yard bag. You know what I'm saying? I can name you the types of bags these players have.
Oh my
You know what
Well,
I'm
God,
you know,
saying?
there, there's
Like,
a there,
yeah.
there's a guy that has a bag in San Antonio by the name of Devin Vassell,
I thought you
Florida
say
State.
Keldon Johnson, but okay.
Well, I was going to get there too. I actually like Keldon Johnson. Everybody tells me he's got no hips, can't run, and yet somehow he managed to score 20. But whatever. Devin Vassell, like Florida State University, San Antonio's first draft pick. Is he the next real deal? Evan Townsend, Domo, go.
Oh man, what's going on, everyone? I'm not gonna lie, that was hard to sit through. That was a little hard to sit through, but it was funny. It was entertaining. Y'all are funny. At the end of the day, this Spurs discourse is gonna put a lot of people to sleep. People are gonna want to leave the room, so I'll wrap this up quick. Devin Vassell has received media attention as like a most improved player candidate. Started the season off really slow. Realistically, had no intention of being the sole focus and the sole initiator of the offense. But once that, after the first game against Charlotte was over, pretty much it was a pick and roll galore, dribble handoff galore, mid range pull up galore, 20-point halves against the Sixers. When you think about a third year wing who can't create his own shot, you're thinking of somebody who he even compared himself to straight out of the draft, and that is Richard Hamilton, or Rip Hamilton. When you think of somebody who can get to the rim, but you can't stop his mid-range pick and pop, you know, that's kind of, I don't want to say, man, I can't get too crazy with these predictions, but listen, no, we can't. I'm not gonna say it because as soon as you say potential all-star, you know, you sound, see, yeah. See, I know. But listen, Devin Vassell's looking to be a 3-level scorer, but right, everyone needs to know. When he's open for three, you can't self-create, but when he has a set timer to shoot, it's knocked down every single time. The Spurs are winning basketball games out of 3 plays: the pick and roll, the Jakob Poeltl floater, Trey Jones floater, and dribble handoffs just through their wings, 2-man game. Realistically, I don't know how we won last night. Karl-Anthony Towns was cooked food in the pick and roll. We keep making threes that we never made last year. Last 3 years, we're ranked 29, 27, 28 in three-point percentage. Right now, we're shooting over 42%, about 11th, 10th in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Right now, there's balance and actually fluidity in the offense. Everyone last night, not just because we had a team meeting and you know, it was.
Man, you really hate getting those phone calls, man. Like they just pop up on you. You know, like, hey, it's work. It is. They have no respect. Like they want you to work during your work hours. Like, go figure.
Yeah, man. I'm on D&D right now. You know, I don't believe in phone calls. You know, I'll take it until my brother Evan gets back. I just want to let y'all know. I want y'all to put the word on the street that the price of the brick is back up. That's really all I came. The price of the brick is through the roof. Like the mean topics in basketball analysis. Evan will be back here in a second. I came here to lie and spew propaganda. First things first. Douglas is top 10 to 15 wing in the NBA. 3-level scorer. He looks something like Kawhi back in the gap. Keldon Johnson is a monster. I think that we have, you know, arguably the best young wing combination in the league. Something like what the Celtics had a couple years ago. I'm just seeing what's occurring. Jokes aside, you know, last year we were
Man,
saying
that's testing some water right there.
Listen, man. I'm not done yet. You know, last year we were the number 2 assist team in the league. This year we're the number 1 team. I think this is a return to the beautiful basketball Spurs. Ball player movement. The system that all of y'all play right now, that the Warriors took from us, that all of y'all kind of maneuver that we created in like 2012, 2013, I see us returning to form there. All is moving. I wanted to give Evan some credit because he was right about Jeremy Sochan. I wanted AJ Griffin, if I remember correctly, in that drive. Evan, me and him texted on the side. He's like, "Nah, bro, Jeremy Sochan is the person that the organization wants." He called that like in March. So kudos to him. But yeah, man, like I said, I just wanted to put, the word on the street, price of the brick is up. And I also just want to talk a little bit of trash to Raptors fans. I want to say, like, all of the things y'all talk about, like y'all being one of the better organizations, and y'all being one of the better basketball teams, and y'all being such a great developmental team, y'all have to do that for like more than 3 seasons. Like, there's certain organizations in this game that like have been doing this for 40 years. My team has won more titles than we've had losing seasons in my life. We've had like 8 losing seasons in like the history of our organization. If you're gonna say stuff like you're the best developmental team in basketball, you got to have a first ballot Hall of Famer that was drafted in the second round, not one random guy who was drafted in the 27th pick who has been all NBA one time. You got to do this for 20, 30 years before you can say things like you're the best at whatever. But that's beside the point.
All right. I'm hoping Evan does pop back in. I like the Spurs rebuilding process here. I think that they understood that their offensive structure was really superseding any of the current talent, not named DeJounte Murray. And once it pretty much came apparent that there wasn't an ability to mend a relationship, it was best for both parties for them to move off of each other. And that's why I think you're going to see DeJounte succeed in Atlanta. But you know what? The same is true for San Antonio. Like they are succeeding now because these players are now putting in a position to make them take the next step, I think. We'll go to Nat, who's just up here. We have Young Heavy, Gifted Blade of NBA Film Spaces in the Locker Room, which has a show tonight with Live from the Mecca, breaking down RJ Barrett. After the Spurs talk, we got some Celtics talk next as Evan Townsend has returned and has joined us up on stage. Nat, go ahead. Thoughts on Spurs? They're 3-1 in the West. After you, Evan will come back and finish up his point.
Yeah, they're gonna start tanking. They're gonna start losing 10 and 15 like games and stuff. I just I don't believe for a second that these teams that we know are getting rid of certain players. All of a sudden they're going to try and get a playoff spot. No, I think they're going to tank. It's only been 4 games. It's just going to take until they maybe get to the 30s or the 20s, and then you're going to start seeing certain teams losing massive amounts of games, and we know what that is. So I don't really think much into it, and I don't think they should either. I think you should be trying to tank for Wembanyama. Why are we trying to get to the playoffs? It makes no sense to me. So I think that they have a bright future though with Wembanyama. With that being said, as far as my Celtics and everything, everything that is wrong with us was displayed last night. We have a guy in Tatum who has clearly improved where he needed to, and we have other guys that needed to improve in areas that they did not. They are coming in with the same exact issues that they've had, and people try to tell you that they don't have those issues. It's very frustrating. Horford is too old to continuously run that man, at the 5. He's just too old, and he can't do the things that he used to do. And I don't understand why we just can't just see the writing on the wall. He's not going to give you can't lean on him. He's a great vet. He's a guy that's giving you everything he has, but it's not his fault that age is upon us, and that's on his body as well. We need a guy that at that position that can score a little, defend, but play big, and you get some pick and rolls and all that stuff like that. And that's gonna hurt us. I love the guard play that we have. I get it. That's gonna come along, but Horford has got to sit his ass on the bench. And I'm quite frankly, I'm sick of saying it. And I really wish that they get smart. And I hope Brad has done a really good job in the office. I hope that he continues to have foresight and see the shit's not going to work.
I would like to see Brogdon in the starting lineup to settle the offense. I would like to know that when Tatum sits his ass down, Jaylen Brown is going to do something different, and not try to prove that he's just as good or better, and actually just, settle the offense, do some common sense playmaking. It bothered me last night, that loss, because it shouldn't have happened. I get it, it's a trap game. I said that earlier in the day, actually. I said it's nothing but a trap game, and Jesus Christ, it was. So, Joe needs to call timeouts. He's showed all of his deficiencies in that one game. He doesn't call timeouts. He's going to allow the team to go on 10, 15-point runs on the Celtics, and he's not going to call a timeout. Then he's going to call a timeout when we're now trailing. Ridiculous. He's got to learn quickly that you can't do that. He's got to learn his rotations quickly. Or we're going to find ourselves being able to score really well, but then guys are going to come in and combat us for offense because we're not defending how we should be. So I'm concerned. I know there's other Celtics fans that like to think with their hearts and think that, everything's going to be great because we were in the finals last year. I'm not that person. So I'd like to see some improvements.
All right. Yeah, the Robert Williams, I said it last year. I think long term he's not going to be the same, and I get it. You can only play with what you have in front of you, and they had a chance at a championship, and you do that, right? Like that's the decision you make. I just think it sucks because without Robert Williams and being stuck with Al Horford and Vonleh. All right. What do you got coming up, Nat?
Well, let me say this. Robert Williams is not going to solve these issues. So if you're thinking that just because Robert Williams is not there, but when he comes back, everything is just magically fixed, you're sadly mistaken. Because there's issues with Rob, too. He is limited. My man's is 6'8". He's built like a forward playing the 5, and although he's played very well in his career, he is limited. And that is the problem we're having. We got to stop nickel and diming this 5 position, because that's all we're doing. We're nickel and diming, and then we think what got us somewhere last year is going to get us, somewhere next year, and it's just not how it works. But yeah, what I got coming up, of course, bench warmers, Chris. Bench warmers. Come on, come with the hot takes. Come tell me why Damian Lillard is better than Steph Curry. I want to hear it. Tell me why.
They 4-0 right now. They see.
Talk about it. I want to hear it. I want to hear why Brandon Ingram is better than Jason Tatum. Yes, I see your tweets. Let's come in there and say it. I want to hear all of these takes. But this is a hot take space. So if you are a troll, this is your favorite space on Twitter.
There might be one tonight, Nat, that Jamal Murray is overrated.
Yeah, I'm entertained by that. I'm entertained. Yeah. Are you not?
I like Jamal Murray, but like I started listening, and then when I'm listening to this guy make this argument, and I look at the stats, I was like, oof.
You got to let them talk, though. It's a space for trolls, right?
Yeah,
exactly. I want to hear it. You want to hear it, and people want to vote, and people want to call you crazy.
All right, make sure you shoot Nat here at Reese Rebel 31 to follow. Also, we'll be bringing back Celtics full court, and then as the trade deadline approaches, ladies and gentlemen, so you think you're a GM, you're going to be able to come in and fix these teams, much like the Miami Heat. I think are going to be in desperate need of your services as we look up and down the roster, and scary days are ahead. Scary days are ahead for the Miami Heat. Appreciate it, Matt. Evan, you're back. Appreciate you coming back. Go ahead and pick up where you left off. Domo will pick up right after you, talking real quick Spurs. Then up next, we've got Nuggets to talk about because they're 2-2. And you know what? They don't look better. They don't. Evan, go ahead. Good morning.
What's going on? Sorry, I had a Wi-Fi glitch or something. I had to turn off my phone, restart it. I did forget where I was because I was just talking into a funnel, and so I realized no one was replying.
You were about to say Devin Vassell's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
No. Basically, Devin Vassell is the heart of the offense right now, but he's not going to be the long-term first option. I don't think he has the offensive back to. Basically, the only way he can score is if he's wide open, shoot from three. If it's a dribble handoff, pick and pop, or if the pick and roll, because he literally cannot self-create for himself. He's not explosive. Keldon Johnson is not explosive. Literally, Josh Primo is not explosive. You would wonder, like, how are the Spurs getting to the rim? Honestly, a lot of and ones last night, a lot of finesse plays, a lot of dump downs, a lot of alley-oops, a lot of just plays we've never seen before, and it's solely because we don't have a ball hog. There was no DeMar DeRozan. Sorry, he's a good player, but he was a ball hog in San Antonio. DeJounte Murray was a ball hog in San Antonio. Now Trey Jones is looking to set everyone up. He's literally the table setter, as a lot of Spurs fans are saying. And when you think about it, there's no other perfect scenario for the Spurs. I joined back when Nat was highlighting a little bit. When you think about where they should be, where they hope to be, obviously they want. You would think for them to be tanking. Right now, everyone is just assessing how much they're worth, not just in terms of a free agency bag, but in terms of a trade asset. Isaiah Roby was picked up for pretty much dirt cheap, nothing, a minimum contract, right? OKC just he was the odd man out there because they got Chet and a couple other rookie second and third year players, right? We picked him up for nothing. He could be a trade asset for a contending team. Jakob Poeltl, Zach Collins, Gorgie Jang, anyone besides a teenager, literally take him. Give us a first round pick. Literally, it doesn't matter. If you want to be on this team, we're going to talk about it. You're going to assure, the front office, hey, no nonsense online. This is not a military boot camp, but you can't be disrespecting the franchise. You can't be having antics outside of the arena. So, a lot of players aren't signed up for that, but a lot of people just want to, play for an NBA franchise. And if you're down for that, you can suit up for us, but or for them. Sorry, I can't keep saying that. But at the end of the day, I would love to have a top 10 pick, a lottery pick. I don't think the Spurs have any positioning or any reasoning to be in the playing race, let alone play off. But yeah, that's really it. And Damo, I will actually be in Dallas, Texas this weekend. So you and 808s, you cannot run from that 21 fade, my boy. So I will hit that group text, and y'all will reply this time.
Tell that man, ain't nobody scared of him. The buckets are still there. I'm gonna do him like Devin did.
Okay.
That's fine.
I had to say in the recorded space because we will recoup this on next week. We will talk about this. I'm telling you. But I think I'm gonna try and go to. But there's 2 games on Mavericks games. They play the Magic and somebody else on Sunday. Yeah, shut up. But yeah, no, that's yeah. I got you. We'll talk.
Chris, I'll put some on the jumbotron, and I want to specifically for that.
This is the content y'all want to see. Honestly, hey, you said it. You put
it up. About this Victor dude. We hooping this year. Y'all gonna see. That's straight from the man himself. That's straight from a future first ballot fan. I'll just say. I think that this will be I think I said it like a couple days ago. This is a 35-win team in my book. Maybe 40 if they just catch fire. I do think somewhere around trade deadline, Josh Richardson and maybe Jakob will eventually be traded. But this is a fun basketball team to watch. I actually really don't want Victor because I don't trust 7 to 4 people because they always seem to get hurt. If I had like my ideal prospect, I would probably be Scoot because he's a guard and this is a guard-dominated league and he can play great defense. So yeah, I think that we'll have another Zion and Josh situation where one team gets Scoot and he's available.
You don't like generational talent?
I think he just doesn't trust the health aspect.
Able to stay healthy. We said the same thing about Porzingis. He broke down. Said the same thing about Ralph Thompson. We broke down. I'm on record saying that I would have took his.
Are you just saying guys that just are not like healthy
over Zion because I don't think Zion can stay healthy with his body. I look at Victor.
But are you just saying guys that are unhealthy?
I look at Victor and I say that is an amazing talent, but I don't think he's going to play 15 years. I think Scoot Henderson will play 15 years.
Well, we'll find out. Let me get Gifted in here real quick. Gifted, go ahead. Then we're going to switch over ladies and gentlemen, to the Nuggets. But I wanted to say the Hulu's got a great doc, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead. Malika Walker and Hoop Space's Ryan, they're going to be hosting a recap on Legacy, the true story of the Lakers. It's on Hulu, so if you've got access to it, pop it in. Make sure you give it a watch. Come in, chop it up, and talk things, all things Lakers, going all the way back to the buses and to Kobe's retirement, LeBron and the rings and everything. Like, the Lakers are killing it on the content front. Gifted Blade tonight with Live from the Mecca, breaking down R.J. Barrett and Film Spaces. I'll give you your final take. We got Young Heavy here, and we're going to introduce Swiper, another dude you need to follow who's a dope content creator covering the Denver Nuggets for basically everybody who's going to listen. He's locked in 100%, so make sure you check out Swiper also on YouTube where he's got a lot of dope reaction videos. Gifted, floor is yours, then Young Heavy. Appreciate everybody. Good morning.
Yeah. And also, again, big shout out to Big Gucci Swiper. You know, we running a whole lot of spaces ourselves, dope content creator. But yeah, tonight
I have no idea who you are.
Yeah, me neither. So tonight, we're going to be doing a RJ Barrett film space. Should be fun. We've been working hard, man, because tomorrow there will be a Giannis film breakdown as well. So we have a lot of film stuff coming this week on top of regular basketball conversations.
So what? All transition dunks.
I love
Swiper.
I love that agenda.
Come on.
I love that
he
agenda.
is coming in. He coming in professional too. Like, you hear the voice, right? Like he had a meeting.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
Don't let people cook Michael Porter Jr. now.
Ooh.
I want to bring that up. But listen. Yeah. So I can neither confirm nor deny if they're all transition dunks. You have to tap into the space tomorrow to see. But I'll say this about the Spurs. I like what they're doing in terms of setting a clear establishment of trying to win games early. But what's going to happen is this team is going to bottom out. They're going to lose games, and that's perfectly fine because ultimately this is one of the deepest drafts that we've ever seen in NBA history. So you're going to want to get good players. So they're going to bottom out, but I like the vision. I like the team. Keldon Johnson is a very valuable player. So is Vassell. Their development is still going to be important for the next season after the draft. So them getting in the early reps is strong and powerful to see. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Spurs. Keep winning early, but you're going to tail off at the end, and that's perfectly fine because, again, really good draft coming up. I'm about to get back to work, but shout out to Hoop Spaces. There will be more basketball spaces all the way through and more film breakdowns as well. Nat, I'm pretty sure after Giannis, we also will be doing Jason Tatum. So there's that.
Finally.
I said the same thing, to be honest. Yeah.
All right. Denver Nuggets, they're now 2-2. They lost to the leaders of the Western Conference. Shout out Gifted Blade and the NBA film spaces over at the locker room. Tap in tonight to make sure we talk about RJ Barrett. You got Giannis coming up, Jason Tatum, Pascal Siakam, as he said. And I'm fairly certain we're going to cook through the entire league. One of them is going to end up being Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. because questions are coming out.
Before you introduce this, I would love to get my slander off real quick. So, like,
go ahead.
Swiper tried to insinuate that Giannis was a run and dunk man. Jokic is the sit still and pass man.
Oof.
What? Wait, a what Gifted?
Sit still and pass.
He doesn't move at all. He doesn't move at all. Yeah. And there it is.
Didn't hear good.
Yeah, that is.
That's great. The best two players in the league have one thing you can't stop them from doing. That's great.
Okay. I would love to stop Giannis from running and dunking.
Denver Nuggets fall to the Portland Trailblazers 110-135. Portland on fire, 4-0. Damian Lillard, Jeremy Grant, and Anthony Simons, the trio scaring the league that you didn't know you needed to know about. Denver went in this season expecting a healthy Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and then they also made some changes to try to shore up the defense. They brought in Aaron Gordon through the injury to Michael Porter Jr., but they also picked up KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, for a 3-and-D wing to go alongside Jamal Murray, who can be, defensive deficient. They pick up Bruce Brown, combo guard, small forward, and guard, 1 through 3 small ball fours. I'm a huge Brown fan. I think that's going to actually be a great pickup that's going to pay dividends through the entirety of the season and their playoff run. And they brought back Jeff Green, the ageless wonder. Shout out Georgetown University. He's still living it up, 20 minutes per game, giving good production. Bones Highland steps into the Monty Morris role as the first guard off the bench. So shout out Bones, that dude can hoop. But we got Swiper up here, and Swiper's going to tell us why we don't need to be overly worried about what's going on in Denver, except the thing that I don't like is Michael Porter Jr. can't play a lick of defense, and damn, neither can Jamal Murray right now. So what's up?
Yeah, man, it was crack. First off, man, hey, shout out to you, Chris, the only man on the app with a better voice than myself, man. So shout out to you as always.
Appreciate it.
Together. But first and foremost, man, I think that people, anything that happens in the first 10, 15 games of the year, it is what it is. I don't really put a lot of stock into it. I think that it takes, especially for newer teams that are putting a lot of pieces together, especially with expectations. I think the first 30 games of the year, you're figuring stuff out. You're learning how to play with each other. You're learning how to fit the scheme, system, all that other stuff. And I think last year we had the Washington Wizards through 10 games leading the Eastern Conference. They were at the top of the conference, and then they tailed off at the end of that year. Similarly, you had some other teams like the Chicago Bulls that were at the top of the conference. Then they had injuries, all kind of stuff. So basketball is a funny sport. It's unlike the NFL, where in the NFL you obviously have 1 week and only have 17 games. Basketball, 82 games. You have 4 different periods throughout the year, and you have 4 different things that happen throughout the year as well. So I think with the Denver Nuggets right now, I am looking at a team that Jamal Murray is not yet fully integrated. He doesn't look the same out there yet. Physically, he's fine, but mentally, trusting his body, trusting his shot, trusting the process, not there yet, which is completely fine, completely understandable. Jamal, tore his ACL 18 months ago, hasn't played competitive basketball. KCP, he's been a great addition. I honestly have no complaints about KCP. Bruce Brown as well. They're both shooting extremely well. They're both playing good defense as well. It's just the connectivity of the defense is not there. They've given up 135 points. They've given up 123 points and 122 points twice, or 122 points and then 117 points, I believe, are the numbers that they've given up so far. So not great at all. I think the thing that I am probably curious to see is Michael Malone, the head coach himself, came out and said that he expects them to be he wants them to push to be a top 5 defense. And I think, again, if you go through the transition and you make the commitment, it's possible. But I always said the ceiling, I think, is top 7. I think the thing with the defense is, and I've said this repeatedly, that the pieces are there to have the best defense they've had in the Michael Malone era. And they finished as 10 in 2018, 2019. But I think the thing is that right now they're trying to allow for Jamal to work together within that offense and within that defense. And he just, again, hasn't been there. And I'm not going to hold y'all. Michael Porter Jr., he's been beat for some backdoor cuts, but he has really not been the issue defensively for them. He actually has stepped up in many ways. He has some more one-on-one stops this year through the first 4 games than I've ever seen from him over the course of his career. I think the biggest issue has just been, even AG was getting beat backdoor from Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant was also muscling him to the rim yesterday. But again, some of this is Jeremy was putting his shoulder down and had a lot of shooting luck getting to the free throws. And then yesterday in the third quarter, they gave up 44 points. And they have done stuff like that throughout this year. They did the same thing to the Golden State Warriors in the third quarter as well versus the Warriors. They're able to get the win. I think right now, I am just really curious when they will actually start buying into the fact that they need to elevate as a defense. And I think a lot of this is but you know what, Chris, is funny? Their offense hasn't been good 2 of the 4 games either. So that's the other thing, right? Where people were projecting them, including me, to have a top 1, 2, or 3 offense this year. But they scored 110 points, but they weren't on that pace yesterday. They scored 61 points in the first half, and then they cooled out the rest of the game. Then even the other night as well, when they lost versus the Utah Jazz, they only scored 105 points, I believe. So they just aren't as clean as a team right now as they could be. And I think the Warriors, they scored 128 points, and then they scored 122 versus OKC. So I think the potential is there, but you could just tell that they're just not there. Even yesterday, bro, if you watch the third quarter, they basically went from 61 to 70, and then Portland caught back up. And then from that point on, it was 73, 76, 79 to 70, and then the game was kind of out of hand after that, and they just could not score. And so what I'm looking at is a team that has the most offensive talent, arguably in the NBA, that's not able to put it together on a consistent basis. So I legit, bro, think it's going to take about 30 games for them to figure out who they are and how they need to be operating.
Yeah, I once I saw that Braun was getting some extra minutes that he doesn't normally get, I realized Malone was throwing in the white flag. He's going to be a good player, I think, for you as well, if he can start knocking down shots. But my biggest question is, do you feel as though really Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon will work together ultimately? Because, like, I think what you saw yesterday for me was Aaron Gordon being better despite Michael Porter Jr. being there. But, like, when I watch them generally together, I don't really like the fit for Denver itself. That's just I think it's an aesthetic thing. I preferred Aaron Gordon without Michael Porter Jr. on the floor. I thought it made him more open, but he's having success now. What do you see that I'm not seeing? Why am I wrong? Because I've got no problem being wrong. You're actually the Nuggets expert here, so I just want to make sure that I'm not going crazy.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting observation. I maybe can understand from a traditional standpoint why you would believe that. But I think the thing is the two-man lineup data suggests completely otherwise. They actually have played really well together. And I think the thing that makes it work is the fact that they have two players that are both rangy athletes. Obviously, when Porter is healthy, he is very much able to do that, and he's able to move at a really high level. And again, he doesn't have to take on the main responsibility of guarding, the leading option on the wing or anything like that, because that's what Aaron Gordon does. And so even if I look up right now, again, the season is all out of whack. They have 115.6 offensive rating together. So again, offensively, they're playing fine. It's just they haven't put together anything defensively between the two yet. But when they were all healthy, again, when they first got together, it was a great tandem because, again, at some point, Gordon goes down to a dunker spot / cutter / mid-range shooter, and then Michael Porter Jr. operates on the outside as a perimeter player mostly, and he also operates as a cutter. So they actually work really well together from an offensive standpoint, and defensively, they actually allow for the Nuggets to do a lot more hedging because Michael Porter Jr. at 6'10.5", 6'11" with shoes on, he rotates as a weak side help defender. AG also does the same thing. And they also bring, again, I know traditional eyes might not see it, but Porter, because of his size and athleticism as well as AG, they offer a little bit of rim protection. But the problem is that, again, the chemistry has not been there. So they just do not look cohesive right now. And I think the overall team doesn't look cohesive. Even if you look at the numbers between their first 91 possessions prior to yesterday, they had like 105 offensive rating between Jamal Murray, between Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. They had an offensive rating about 105, but they had a defensive rating about 96. So they actually have been playing good defense. But again, the offense is what's seemingly taking them out of their step right now.
Yeah, I can see that. I want to make sure everybody else can get in here. Matty Ice has popped up here. Mike is here. E-Man's up here. E-Man came up after you. E-Man, hop in here. What are your thoughts on the Nuggets?
I only game I watched the Warriors game, so I'm not as informed as Swiper and all them. So I'm not going to talk about that.
All right, appreciate it. See, that's as easy as that. Gifted, you got anything? Nat, you got anything?
Yeah. So Swiper, I got a question. Do you think that this team currently is going through this thing where they play harder versus like contending teams than just your average run-of-the-mill team, or no?
Yeah, welcome to the Nuggets experience in the Michael Malone area. That's exactly how they've always been. They show up against the elite teams they need to show up against. And you could put, if you started their schedule off and they're playing against the Warriors, they're playing against the Celtics, they're playing against like the Suns, they're playing against the Clippers, they legit might be 4-1 or 5-0. Like that's just how they play. But versus the Jazz, versus the Portland Trailblazers, they just typically have not been a team that has operated in a way that they show up with the same level of commitment against teams that they consider to be not as constant threats to them as some of the better teams. But that's a part of the problem, though. So, and I think that then they've been practicing. I'm not going to hold you. Nikola Jokic yesterday had 4 shots. In the first half, they scored 61 points. He had 2 shots, and he had 2 shots in the second half. Some of that was foul trouble, which a lot of it was actually. But Jokic had 9, 9, and 9 yesterday, and they literally were in a situation where Jokic was just trying to get Murray involved. He was trying to get Porter, KCP, Bruce, everybody, Bones, everybody involved. And so he wasn't aggressive at all. And so they took the opportunity versus the Blazers to do that because they thought they could just walk in and beat the Blazers, as opposed to when they play against other teams and like better teams, Jokic might come out and score anywhere from 8 to 20 points, which he has done before in the first quarter just to set the tone. But he just wasn't even looking for a shot. And if you look in the playoffs, when they last played against Nurkic, I mean, he averaged 33, 11, and 6 on 50, 40, 90 versus Nurkic. So he could easily have killed them, but he just was in a place mentally where he just decided he wanted to get other people involved, bro. So you're absolutely right, Gifted.
Yeah, I mean, I have always been, I think, slightly a little concerned with Michael Porter Jr. I know he's been injured. He has a history of injuries, so I'm curious to see how he'll look in 30 games with his progression. Jamal Murray, I think that he'll figure it out. He hasn't been there. He's been injured as well. These are two guys coming back, from missing a lot of basketball. So I think that they'll figure it out. The reason why I had Denver still as the number 1 seed is because they have a really good supporting cast. And I think that those guys are really going to help level this team out. And then they're going to go on this big run and still be, the top of the West, whether it's top 3 or not. But yeah, that's what I think. And Mike Malone, he still has some issues he needs to work out as a coach. I've never been too high on him.
I want to get, and I don't want to mess the name up, so forgive me. I'm just going to say Oda. Akutuski Oda in here.
Akatsuki Oda. Can y'all hear me?
Yep, I got you. Nuggets fan, yes?
Yes, die hard, man.
Shout out to you. Let me shoot you a follow. Appreciate a follow back. Welcome to the show. They're 2-2. They lost last night, 135-110. Swiper up here has done a fantastic job, really hedging and fleshing out the stuff that's hyperbole, right? What's your take going on in the first 4 games? What do you see that you like and what you don't like?
So what I do like is the shot making ability. I feel like we're hitting shots. I have a friend who really liked Monte Morris and Will Barton, and I've always told him that this KCP acquisition is going to be good for us. Last game, KCP went 6 for 10 from 3. So we're hitting shots. And I feel like even though we were really injured last year, that's something that we really struggled to do, Jokic finding players and hitting shots. So I'm glad that we're able to hit shots. I know you guys talk about Michael Porter Jr.'s defense, and I feel like that's always going to be a problem in his whole career. But he's able to hit tough shots and make tough shots. That's what I love about Mike, especially at 6'10". That's huge, especially coming off a Jokic pass. One of my problems that I've had and I'll always have with Jokic is he can literally be the best scorer in the NBA. He catches it in the middle of the paint. He can literally just throw up a hook anytime he wants. But my problem with Jokic is that he's so passive. And I don't want to say he's chasing stats, but it seems like during games he's chasing assist stats, like he wants to beat John Stockton's record or something. And I love Jokic. People say LeBron is the best passer in the league. It's definitely Jokic. It's definitely Jokic. So I want to ask Swiper, especially, what do you think about Jokic's passiveness and his ability or his not wanting to take shots? Because he can literally, I feel like if he takes 5 shots a quarter, he'll finish with 28 points a game every single time. But I feel like he's just not in that mode. Not what he had last night. I don't know how many points he had, but it was 9 rebounds, 9 assists. I think it was 7 or 9 points. That's not going to cut it. Even if we are playing the Portland Trailblazers, I don't care if we're playing. I don't want to say the Spurs are the worst team in the league because they've been whooping ass. But even if we play the Spurs, I need Jokic to take at least 15, 16 shots. I don't need him passing. So again, my question to Swiper was, what do you think about Jokic's passiveness? Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I look at all of his games, I think I only would say that would be last night. I mean, he's averaging roughly about 11 shots a game right now. He's had 17. He had 4. He had 4, 10, 13, and 17. So the thing with Jokic is Jokic's been getting to the line a little bit more this year than he normally has, which is taking even versus the Warriors. I think he shot the ball 13 times, I want to say. So, but he went to the line 11 times, and then the previous game he shot 10 times. He went to the line 9 times. So, I would say the only pushback I would have is Jokic needs to be more aggressive. But I think the idea of him stat chasing would be interesting, considering that there were times last year where he had 8 points, 18 rebounds, and 15 assists versus Portland through 3 quarters and didn't play the rest of the game because they were winning by 20 plus, and he could have easily went back and got another bucket. He had 18, 15, and 10 in 3 quarters versus the Bucks last year, and they won by 36 points. He just has never really been a player that cares about numbers like that, which is also why I think the problem was yesterday that he didn't shoot the ball more. I think had he been in a position to realize he needs to be more aggressive, everybody has to remember, Jokic wasn't a dominant scorer until maybe 3 seasons ago. Mm-hmm. Before that, he was just a facilitator. Like he played in Serbia. That's how they traditionally play. They don't have a lot of high volume shooters. When he plays even with Serbia in the international games for the World Cup qualifier or the Eurobasket, he's not taking like a lot of shots there either. Like his points per game numbers are relatively low relative to who he is as a player. So I think Jokic just buys into the system so much. And I think, if anything, American or NBA basketball is the antithesis of how he actually believed basketball should be played. And I think that's a problem.
Facts.
Yesterday, he looks at KCP, Jamal being back, Porter being back, and he's like, well, I want them to get going. That way we can have that, 2014 Spurs level passing. And if my numbers go down to 20, 11 and 9, I'm completely fine with that because that's how the game should be played. The problem is in the NBA, the stars or superstars, you set the pace of the game, you set the flow of the game. And so I think that's just what he wants to do. But honestly, they can't do that until Murray is back. And right now he's not. And then Michael Porter Jr. is not a dominant on-ball player. So you can't ask him to do that either,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you. I just feel like I didn't want to say stat chasing because that's not Jokic. I know that's not Jokic. But when I see him just throw up a hook in the post, I'm like, man, you could do that the whole game if you chose to. Like he doesn't miss around the rim. It's something that I just don't understand how he's not able to jump and still be this dominant scorer.
He's never taken more than 18 shots per game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's the criticism with Jokic. Like he's really good, but you play him to pass, and you want to make him have to score 40 because that's not naturally what he wants to do.
Yeah,
which
and
is
my
the fun
thing
thing,
is
right?
if they make him score 30, if they make him go score 30,
We lost one of y'all. One of y'all got cut off. I don't know.
Yeah, are you there, Hoda? Hello?
Yeah, are you there, Swipe? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? I think Jokic, he's basically had one of the most efficient last 2 seasons on volume scoring we've ever seen. So I think that's the thing, that if he wants to get 30 a game, he would easily do it because he's shooting, 58% from the field last 2 years. And then I think this season, so far, I think he's shooting 88% from the line. He's shooting 64% from the field and 50% from 3. So just imagine if he upticked his volume to 20 shots a game or 19 shots, which is roughly what Embiid had last year. He legit would be averaging 30, 12, and 8. But again, I think a part of this is when he played against the Lakers, for instance. I do think that when he plays against Anthony Davis, that he's going to come out and he's going to dominate offensively from a scoring standpoint, because I think he has to set the tone now. Like he did this, bro. If you haven't seen Chris, you go back to watch him 2 years ago when he won his first MVP. He basically protested versus the Memphis Grizzlies because people had complaining about him shooting the ball. He wasn't shooting enough. He shot the ball one time, and it was at the end of the game, and he shot a 3-point ball just to spite everybody.
He's such a troll.
Right.
Yeah, he is.
That's just how he is, bro. Like he's like, I don't want to be that. I'm not Embiid. Like I'm not Tatum. I'm not just going to start shot checking, which is a part of their game. So, but he needs to do that sometimes.
Yeah, that was 2021. That was the only year he had 18 shots per game.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Which is wild because the NBA is wired if you have a dominant big to get them 23.
Yeah.
Right?
He leads the league in touches, but the way that he operates is quickly out of his hands once he catches it. He's not like a ball dominant big at all.
And actually, that bodes well, I think, for him being, continually dominant and productive longer versus Embiid, who
that's a great point.
Unfortunately requires contact because he wants to get out on the wing and, run in like
Chris,
he's Trevor Ariza.
And then we can end here or whatever. Anybody else got comment on the Nuggets, but it's just the other day versus the Thunder.
I have a comment on the Nuggets.
Yeah, and they said Jokic is not going to score, so we're going to make him a playmaker, and so obviously that feeds right into his first asset. So they started hard doubling him as soon as he caught the ball in the post, which means they were flying at him from the baseline and from the opposite wing. And so Jokic had 13 assists, and had they made the rest of their shot, he would have had 20 assists basically through 3.5 quarters. But that's what I mean. Like, Jokic is a person that if you put him in a zone, if you double team him, then you're asking him to do the thing he is best at, which is what he murders people doing. The problem is that when teams get in situations like yesterday and the tone starts, and that's why I say I can't really be down on Joker, because I've seen Joker take over playoff games, take over regular season games. But yesterday it was one of those like 2017-18 versions of Jokic where he was like being too passive and the foul trouble and all that stuff. And then eventually, because he was getting a bad whistle, he started to try to do what Nurkic was doing, which he started flopping in the post to try to get those fouls. And then it just ended up like not working. So I think yesterday, honestly, he was just frustrated with the team, with the refs, and then ultimately he was frustrated with himself. And so that's kind of what led to the 4 shots.
He's such a bad flopper too. It's just, right, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Maddie, get your Nuggets taken here. Go ahead. What you got?
This is something I'm saying though. Like, if we don't the Nuggets, don't they play the Lakers next? When do they play the Lakers?
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday, it is exactly what my prediction is. Like, I don't see. I see the Nuggets coming. I see the Nuggets blowing up in the Lakers. That's just the way I see. Like, just I mean, like, just like seeing like how they did against the Trailblazers. Like, I just don't see. I just think the Nuggets.
Wait. Are you saying the Lakers are blowing the Nuggets out, or are you saying the Nuggets are blowing the Lakers out?
No. What I said was, this is what I said. I said I see the Nuggets blowing out the Lakers.
Thank you.
I mean, like, that's just something I'm saying though, because if you look back at 3 games, like just the way I see how the Lakers play from the first 3 games. Now, when they played against Portland, what's that team called? Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now when they had that big lead, when they had that big lead up and they put Westbrook in, everything changed. But that's just something I'm saying. Now Westbrook's got to get his minutes cut just so this team can work around, because like it can't, like, I mean, like, this is the way I see it. Like, it cannot be LeBron and AD. Right. LeBron and AD can't carry that whole entire team because they're not shooters.
We started on the Nuggets and we got to the Lakers. Like, I don't know how we got there, but we here. I don't know
how that works, man.
let me get JB in here because I got 5 minutes before I'm getting ready to close out. JB, go ahead.
I don't want to talk about the Lakers. I want to talk about.
Yeah, we're talking Nuggets. Go.
Yeah, I came in here to talk about the Nuggets. I remember coming into your space just last week and telling you that I was worried about the Denver Nuggets and pointing out how Jamal combining for low outputs and how they would need those players and not the Bruce Browns of the world against any kind of better competition than the Oklahoma City Thunder, even though they were 2-1. Yesterday, you saw precisely what happens when Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray have to go up against premium competition. Now, you may not like the Portland Trailblazers. You may think that it's a fraudulent 4-0 or whatever, but I can tell you this, that a backcourt of Damian Lillard, Jeremy Grant, and Anthony Simons is better defensively than anything you can name on the Oklahoma City Thunder. So what did you see happen specifically? You saw Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray combine for 26 points over 53 minutes. That's not going to get it done. I'll tell you another thing that's not going to get it done. 3 assists and 6 rebounds combined. There is a problem going on with Denver. Joker is the same guy that you always thought he was. Aaron Gordon, and by the way, he scored 26 points, is the same guy that you always thought he was. A good number 4 guy who, like, an amazing number 4, but struggles being the number 3 and struggles even more in the number 2. I think Denver has some problems, and I'm not just saying it from the 2-2 record. I don't think their guys are healthy. And if they're not healthy, how are they ever going to get to this number 4 or number 3 seed? How can we take them as a serious contender? I think the answer is that we can't.
All right. Well, I'll let Swiper respond because that's a heavy charge. I think they actually are going to end up being 2nd or 3rd. I think it'll be between them and Memphis, personally, as I see it right now, as the opening of the season. Swiper, he's saying he doesn't buy the Nuggets. He can't trust them. How can you?
Yeah, I mean, somebody's first 4 games after coming back from an ACL, sure. I imagine they wouldn't look healthy. I've said this repeatedly that I think it's going to take 30 games. That's about what the timetable typically works for either Zach LaVine or whoever else that comes back from that kind of injury. So, yeah, I mean, Porter has been healthy. Porter is shooting over 50% from the field and 50% from 3 on 8 attempts a game. So, I don't really know like what he can do. And he's averaging 6. So I think he's averaging 18, 6 on 50 and 50 right now. And he's not been the biggest defensive liability either on the team. So I'm not really as concerned with that. I think Murray is just going to take a while. They look better with Bruce Brown in the game for Jamal Murray because Bruce Brown can play guard, but he's also just a better defender and he's healthier right now. Murray is not healthy. It's just he's not used to playing NBA basketball. So, yeah, I'm not concerned about that at all unless he has a setback. But again, it's been too long for him to have a setback. So, yeah, I really wouldn't be as concerned about that. I picked him as a top really 1, 2, or 3 seed to start in July. So, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. But, I don't really predict anything needing to I don't predict you seeing them go on a run until about game 35, game 40, because that's when I think they'll be as cohesive as they can be.
All right, I've got great news to share with everybody. If you look up to the Jumbotron, our friend Nat, the Natfluential, the All Nat podcast, has now joined NBC Sports as a streaming content producer, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you give her congratulations. That is just absolutely fantastic to see her succeed. I'm very happy to be a small part. I'm just like you are. Every time that you tap in to the Hoopstresses or to the Natfluential pod or to Golden Spaces, you were there, part of the growth. And now you see for all you other creators, like it's there. It can happen. Keep doing what you're doing. Wake up, do it every day. You can be just as good. You could be like Swiper, who's dominating here on Twitter and on YouTube. Swiper, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Swiper Cam. Obviously, here at Swiper Cam. You can find me on Instagram. I also write for the Nuggets as well. You can find me on Fanside of the Nug Love, where I'll be writing throughout the entire season. So I will be all over the place. So if you want more content, you find Swiper Cam wherever you can find it.
Outstanding. JB, pump up your space. Where can they find you?
Every morning, June cast go to like 200 at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. Right here on Twitter Spaces, NBA or NFL Now. But my space is mostly for therapy, just so everybody knows. I'm just trying to save a marriage, trying to not spend money on therapists. So if you ever hear me, if you ever come to my space, just know that you're helping a guy keep everything together.
There you go. Therapy. It's much needed. Gifted, 8 o'clock tonight. Talk about it.
Yep. We are doing a film breakdown on RJ Barrett tonight at 8 o'clock, and also a film breakdown of Giannis Antetokounmpo tomorrow at 7. Make sure to tap in at NBA Film Space. We have a bunch of future players coming up, and unlike Swiper, I can give you a very concise shout out to my social medias. Gifted X Blade on all platforms at all things Gifted. Easy. YouTube, TikTok, all of that. Tap in.
Man, I tell you, it's going to be a great season. Kent, just an old clam in the mud flats of Portland. Scion and fan of the 4-0, first in the Western Conference Trailblazers. How are you, sir? Good morning.
Hey, I'm finer than frog for Chris. I really am.
I haven't heard that in like 30 years, man.
Yeah,
God, we're old.
I was old then too. So, hey, I rather than talk about other teams, I'm just going to say a few things about the things I saw last night with the Blazers that I am thrilled about. And the sharing the ball, the 5 people in double figures, you were getting any assist. I mean, a Blazer team over the last 4 or 5 years, if they got 5 or 6 assists or 6 assists in a game, was kind of normal. And they're sharing the ball, and they're having some fun, and so that's great. Another thing too is if you've never been to the Moda Center during a game, and you get to Portland sometime and get a chance, you should go there. It gets insane. on the Phoenix game in the overtime, it reached 116 decibels in there, and it stays there. I mean, you can hear it blocks away when they're winning. It's kind of crazy, but so yeah, I've seen seasons. I've been a fan since '70, and I've seen them come out and win 10 games in the first 10 games of the season, and then just crash. And then I've seen them come out, and if I remember correctly, they were 1-9 or 0-10, and they go ahead on and win the championship. So it's a long season, but there's a couple of players that I think that nobody really talks about too much and doesn't give a lot of respect to, and one is the backup center there, and
Drew Eubanks.
Drew Eubanks, yeah. He and I mean, the kids that are on there now, they took a beating last year. I mean, they took a beating. I mean, nobody likes to lose. Greg Brown said in an interview, he says, "I hate losing more than I like winning." And they did take a beating, and so things are working for them right now. They're playing as a team. I like the coaching so far. They're constantly coaching these youngsters. Jamari Walker got in. Shaden Sharp looks good. I think he's starting out. They'll just kind of work him into the rotation a little bit more, I think. And Simons, I mean, we call him Fire Ant because, boy, once he gets hot like that, it's stand back. It's insane what he can do from a three-point line. So, I just want to talk about the positive things I'm seeing. So hopefully this year for the Portland Trail Blazers, they can get out of that Sargasso Sea of mediocrity that they've been living in for the last 5 or 6 seasons. And,
I think it's possible. The positive that I took out of it is none of them but Nurkic was in foul trouble, which last year wouldn't have happened. Last year you would have had 2 or 3 people up there with 4 and 5 fouls.
Oh yeah, exactly. Their defense is looking good. They're playing aggressive defense, and like Eubanks, every time he's on, he's not a big scorer. I mean, he doesn't make a bit. I mean, the game speeds up when he comes in. Nurkic is only good for 6 to 8 minutes, and he's pretty much done. He's winded, and so they needed somebody to come in. And when Eubanks comes in, the game speeds up. It gets faster. He's a pest. He's always under the basket. He's picking up rebounds. He's doing those things, and I don't think he's getting a lot of love for that. But he's a local kid from up there. He went to Reynolds High School and out in East Portland. And so, anyway, I'm thrilled, 4-0. But I being a Blazer fan, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. So.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate PTSD of fandom. Let me get E-Man in here, Kent, so he can get his basketball take in here. We will go into the wide world of E-Man, and he'll go across the league. Where do you want to go?
Hello? Oh, hey, this is Kent. Okay. Hey, and I want to say congratulations to, Malika?
Yeah, no.
Oh, Nat?
Yeah, no, it was Nat, yeah.
Nat, yeah. Hey, congratulations on that. That is so awesome. And that is, a lot of hard work is paying off. And love seeing it. It. So.
E-Man dropped. I was going to go to him next. Micah, you're up. You've got the Dallas Mavericks tonight playing the New Orleans Pelicans. And if you've been going along with the show, I posted Bibbs Corner up here. Zion has been downgraded, ladies and gentlemen, but the Mavs, they can play down to the competition. Micah, what are you looking forward to tonight as Dallas takes on New Orleans at 7:30 on TNT?
I am hoping that they don't do that because that's one bad thing that we've had in Dallas is we do tend to play down the competition, and that's cost us a bunch of games, probably cost us seeding last year. So I'm looking forward to them taking advantage of what's in front of them. I'm looking for Jose Alvarado to look like barbecue chicken all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Because we're a playoff team. We know what it's like to hang a banner. It ain't been 50 years since we hang a banner. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to do our thing, show them how it's done. All I got.
All right. Appreciate it, Micah. And I appreciate everybody coming in here today, making today always a good day to talk basketball. But it's past 1 o'clock. It's time to get out of here. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Your lineup tonight starts at 7. The Washington Wizards host the Detroit Pistons. 2-1 for Washington. Remember, they started out fast last season too. But the little bit different here, they're actually running more through Bradley Beal. And Kristaps Porzingis looks healthy. It's really weird. We'll see what they do. Kyle Kuzma's balling out too. Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, they look like they're going to be phenomenal, but I want to see Cade Cunningham be more aggressive. Dallas, 7:30 in New Orleans, downgraded for Zion. Brandon Ingram concussion protocols, setting it up for either a trap game or a blowout. Dallas coming off a fantastic thumping. We'll talk about that tomorrow, I'm sure. The Clippers look to win against the Thunder in Oklahoma City at 8 o'clock. And your TNT 10 p.m. game is the Golden State Warriors and Phoenix Suns, who, by the way, I would put the Raptors fans definitely above the Phoenix Suns fans. Like, yeah. Phoenix needs to work on that. Appreciate it, everybody. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Brought to you by our sponsor, Slam Goods. Head over to slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15% off of your entire purchase. And if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, do so now. It's free. You'll get all of the recaps. You get the links to the news and notes that you need so you don't miss out on anything in the NBA. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
But I already knew what was coming to me. I have another man on to say, I told you something.